didn't sin so long. All the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night. Said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life.
Some positive signs from the Bills' injury front. Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, and Spencer Brown all practiced today in a limited capacity, according to head coach Sean McDermott. Dorian Williams not practicing, though, due to a leg issue, and the Bills are not opening the practice window today for any of the players on IR who are eligible. Sal Capaccio is going to give us the latest when he joins the show in just about an hour at 4 p.m. And a reminder, the Barnes Firm Injury Report is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-MILLION. Some other injury notes. Cardinals running back Trey Benson, he is going to IR. He's going to miss at least the next 4 games with a knee injury. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson not at practice today. Signs are pointing to him not playing this weekend. He is dealing with a hamstring. Bucs running back Bucky Irving is considered week to week with a foot sprain. And then some quarterback news. The Browns are officially going to third-round rookie Dylan Gabriel. He's going to get the start versus Minnesota in London. And Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels has been medically cleared, and he practiced in full earlier today. Sabres game night, 6 p.m. pregame, 7 p.m. puck drop. They are home against Pittsburgh with just 2 preseason games left. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start in net tonight. We'll see if he goes the whole game or just 2 periods. Paul Hamilton will join the show right at the start of pregame at 6. And then in the baseball playoffs, all tied up at 1 between Cleveland and the Tigers in the 6th. Detroit will advance today with a win. Starting in a few minutes, Padres at Cubs. Chicago is the team that advances with a win today. Then at 6, the Yankees need a win to stay alive against Boston, and Cincinnati at 9 needs the same thing against the Dodgers. Sports Talk on WGR is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday, all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody?
Monday, Tuesday, hump day is halfway. It's Mike Schopp.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
and the Bulldog.
Hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
on WGR
Hump Day.
Sports Radio 550.
This probably is better off the air, but just to close the conversation we were having about last night and the Red Sox and the Reds and the Cubs or the Padres, and like yesterday there was a huge flap in here about Bulldog betting the Padres right after I said I was out. I mean, just like that, he just sort of went underground on that one. It gets worse for me.
Does it feel better that it didn't pay off?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
It gets worse for me. I did something last night I should never want to admit. I bet a hockey game, a preseason hockey. So it has become no reflection on the guys. It has become a routine of mine to watch Bet Sweats in the morning. Sam and Joe, they're friends of ours, and it's been good. It's fun. What's the most important thing for a radio
Show's
show?
good. It's a good fun show. Yeah, it's good listen.
Smart and funny.
Yep.
It's always been the recipe, smart and funny. So I get what I want from those guys. And I like their producer guys too. And one of them said he was going to the Blackhawks game last night, and they made fun of him for that. Like, who would go to a hockey game in September? He's like, this guy. And I'm betting the Blackhawks because they're playing their full lineup. And I'm like, I'm in. I didn't even look at didn't know who they were playing. I'm going to just tail this guy. It feels like he's a friend of mine now. I don't know his name.
Yeah.
But he's on the show, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to tail the Blackhawks guy, and they lost to Detroit.
Yeah.
I didn't know until this morning if that's good or better or worse. I don't know if it's better or worse.
I think that's better.
Didn't know.
I feel some. Well, I mean, you're asking the wrong guy because I'm about to say maybe it's a misguided sense of pride when I don't know before I fall asleep whether I won or lost. I even that one time in here, very naturally, I completely forgot about a bet, and I logged into my account to look at something else, and what did I? Oh, wow! I won a 4-leg parlay that I forgot I put in yesterday.
That's got to feel good.
So I like when I can not look at it before I go to sleep.
Yeah,
because I like to. I do. I'm 60 years old. It's important that I get my rest routine.
Oh, it so is.
And I feel like if I check and something's close, right, that's not over yet, then I'm going to sit there and try to find the game somewhere or Gamecast or whatever. And when I'm ready to go to sleep, I want to just go to sleep. So don't check FanDuel to see if the late game is coming through or not. Just it'll be there in the morning.
That's actually very healthy, I think. Because I am so not there.
Right.
I mean, the Monday night games ended and I'm up all night looking at results and starting waivers and pondering trades and
well, you got a lot more action going than.
But that's not good.
No,
it's not.
Right.
Just as you would say about betting, or anyone would say about it, there comes to a point where it's just too much, and I'm clearly at or beyond that point in terms of fantasy, and it means I'm up until 1 every night, and it's just sort of it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's just bad decision after bad decision.
You might
drinking.
You might think in the off season that you're going to scale back, but then you love the drafting so much, so that part is fun. So you just enter and enter and enter and enter, and then you get into the season and you're like, "Why did I do this to myself?" That's what this sounds like to me, pretty much.
And exactly. And I've said it for years too. And it's a really tough week. Because now we're at the point of the season where there are bye weeks and there are big injuries. I'm cutting Malik Neighbors. I'm cutting Tyreek Hill. I'm cutting James Conner a week ago. It just looks weird on the screen, but you might as well do it.
Right.
And who are you picking up? So this morning I got up early. I'm like, all right, well, Bucky Irving is hurt. What are we going to do about that? If I have Bucky Irving, I got to do something. If I don't, I want to do something. So you're going, all through these teams. And I'm not even done when the news pops. It's 2 hours of this. The news pops, Trey Benson is on IR for Arizona. Well, I might like their guy, very similar sort of groupings, I would say, with the Cardinals and the Bucks. I might like Michael Carter more than I like Sean Tucker, and most people will be like, who is either of these guys? Like, who are we talking about here? But like, they're both prominent on waivers tonight, and you just got to be ready. And so,
isn't Rashad White still in Tampa, or is he already on teams?
Rashad. Well, both. He is in Tampa, and he's going to be owned in most leagues, but he's like DeMercado in Arizona is similar, where you might expect
the new guy to come in over the top of him.
No, well, not exactly. You might expect those players to keep the passing down role they have already owned, and then Tucker, who's a nice prospect out of Syracuse, a couple years in the league now, and then Carter. Carter was, some would say, better than Javonte Williams in North Carolina, and he's in Arizona. He was with the Jets originally, I think.
Yep.
Like
I remember him there.
Maybe those guys become the number ones, and what are you trying to figure out? You're talking to people, you're reading the Jared Smolas of the world, like what's probably going to happen here, and then it's 3, and the Jared Smolas of the world, capital W, and then it's 3:00. Like, oh no, it's October 1st, it's gorgeous out, and I've been doing this all day.
And now it's showtime.
But I did have already an idea for today that I like.
Alrighty.
And I thought about actually telling you this one.
Okay. Well, too late. I mean, you can.
I know. I decided not to.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I thought we could work this out together, and we could come up with like 2 answers, and then anybody who wants to participate and tell us what we got wrong should be, feel welcome to do that.
This show often, by the way, just way inside baseball for you, I consider this show often at the start an improvisational jam. Like I feel like you're Jeff Tweedy and I'm Nels Klein. No. Like you're going to give me a song structure. This is good for you. I'm overly complimenting myself, I think. But like, you're going to give me a song structure and see what I can do with it.
All right. Well, here was the idea. So baseball the playoffs started yesterday. And on Monday, we were talking about the matchups. And you said, and I agree with it totally, if you were able to pick the matchups, you would pick these. Boston, New York.
Right, you said that. I just said they all appeal to me for various historical reasons. Yeah, right. Right.
We both thought they were great.
Yeah, same.
We both thought they were great.
Yeah.
Boston, New York, Detroit, Cleveland. They were racing each other down the stretch. Like keep it going. In the Central there, the Tigers and Guardians. That's what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the NL, you have Reds, Dodgers, which, like you said, is fun if you're old enough to remember like the rivalry. Although that might be over already. And then Padres, Cubs even has like a reference point from the 80s in a playoff series. So tough maybe to align the teams differently that might have been more appealing. So I thought if we could likewise line up the NFL playoffs, how would we do it? And I'm going to start this by saying, I think we can maybe all get on board with this, put the Bills at 1.
Okay.
Right? Would anybody want them not to be the 1 for any reason? Like, would that, unless you hate them? Like, why would anybody want to have the Bills? Well, I want to go to extra games. I want the extra game because it's fun to watch games. Like, that would be maybe the only reason behind wanting them to not be the 1
Sure,
seed.
And being able to do this with 3 matchups instead of 2 would be a little more fun too, perhaps. But no, let's do it with just the 2 games. I think we can find our way.
So there are, just to set us up, there are a couple of different angles with this. Do you want it to be as easy as possible? Are we getting the Browns to the playoffs? Like, what do we want to do with that? I mean, do we want it to be as easy as possible? Do you feel so good about what they are that you just want the opposite? You want the best teams because you want to knock them out, on your dream path to that first ever Super Bowl win? So anyway, some certain ways to play it. But Bills at 1, then what? What would you do next?
Well, I don't want to be so bold as to say, give me Baltimore and then give me Kansas City. I think that's the most satisfying path. Like, if, for the purposes of the exercise, are we assuming the Bills just win these games, or is that part of the point? We got to set it up right. So
no, they have to play them.
They have to right. So I'm not just going to assume I win no matter what. I think I don't want both of those teams.
What about the Ravens and Chiefs playing each other?
That's fine. I think that's fine.
Would that be ideal? Or are the Ravens down so bad that you want to bury them or just not even worry about it?
I think you should expect to have to play one, even how down bad they are. To me, it is not at all. Are they still favored to win their division, or did Pittsburgh take that over?
I will look. They're not favored to win Sunday anymore.
Okay,
so
yeah. They might. I mean, if Jackson misses a couple weeks and they drop a couple more games, they might just be dead in the water here, and so it won't even really matter. But sitting here today, I guess assuming Jackson doesn't miss more than a week, even, but even that is going to drop them to 1-4, assuming they lose. And they've got Detroit this week, right? Baltimore.
No, Houston.
Houston, I'm sorry. Okay.
Baltimore is minus 145 at DraftKings to win the AFC North.
All right.
Wow.
So
he could miss a month.
Yeah. I would take Baltimore playing Kansas City, even if it means Kansas City wins. Like, what I'm trying to get to is, I think it's unrealistic to think you're going to dodge them both, and so assume I'm going to have to handle Kansas City, and maybe Pittsburgh takes Baltimore out in the wild card, and I get Pittsburgh here
4-5.
Yeah, with Aaron Rodgers. And, they've had the good start they're off to translates into an 11 or 12 win season. They win the division because Baltimore's down so bad, but Baltimore rallies. They make the playoffs. They take out the Ravens. I got to deal with the Steelers. That's a historic Super Bowl champion franchise with a surefire Hall of Fame quarterback. The coach is probably going to the Hall of Fame already, too. I think that's and it's not that hard. But I would feel pretty good about playing the Steelers.
Okay.
I'm ignoring how they look from now to then, of course, but I think I should be able to handle them.
So, for now, this is a working spreadsheet here. Steelers 4, Ravens 5, which means they're probably no more than a game apart in the standings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what? 10-7, 9-8. It's a pretty bad record for a 5 seed. Right? So 11-6, 10-7 means that there are 2 teams above Pittsburgh between the Bills and the Steelers who are 11-6 or better, and the Bills are above them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty good for them. Maybe you make the Steelers and Ravens tied. I mean, I try not to get too technical with this or anything, but so for now, you're going Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore 5, right?
Sure.
I mean, we're just going to see what this looks like and then change it.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever, as often as we want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting with a destination in mind, and it involves me playing the Steelers and then the Chiefs.
The Steelers in the divisional round.
Right.
So that means the favorites win in the wild card round. So 2 and 3 both win. So what's Kansas City?
3. They catch the Chargers, they win the division.
Okay.
In this scenario, I guess that means the AFC South winner is 2.
It would have to,
and that probably isn't that realistic. But I
don't know.
I
don't think it's unrealistic.
Okay, and everybody wins, and I get the Chiefs in the championship round. That's where I end up, and I feel like I'm expecting to have to beat one of those 2 teams still. Regardless of how they've looked so far, the Chiefs obviously got off the mat big time on Sunday against Baltimore, and we'll see where their season goes from here. They've got work to do to catch the Chargers, but whatever. They're a game back right now.
Game back. They lost to them. They'll play them again.
Right. So And I don't want to just set it up. I mean, sure, would I rather play Jacksonville and Houston or something if that were possible? Yeah, that would probably be easier. Certainly wouldn't feel as intimidating ahead of time. We'll see. I mean, if those teams get those spots, maybe it means that they're much better than I'm thinking they are sitting here today. And look, there's merit to that. I said a while ago, I don't need to beat these teams in order to feel good about the Bills making and ultimately winning a Super Bowl. I don't need it. We used to argue about this. Do you want to beat Brady? Do you want Brady to leave New England because we're getting good and don't you want to take him down? I don't care. Mm-hmm. just get out of my way, okay? If he's not there anymore, my life is easier. And that certainly would hold for any playoff bracket you're dreaming up. I'm trying to be realistic about it. I still think the Chiefs are that good, and I would expect to have to deal with them. And if I'm the one, let them win their divisional game against whoever that is, and come on in here, and we'll have at it.
Okay, so KC 3, and then who are they playing? Is Denver in? Are the Chargers? Are they both in? Who are 6 and 7, or do you want to do 2 first? This is probably 12. That's not necessarily 12. 11 wins for Kansas City, right? If we're doing it like Pittsburgh, Baltimore, 4 or 5. So KC would be 11 and 6.
I think 2 is Jacksonville in this scenario.
Ooh. So we're going for your favorite, right? This is the idea. Your primo bracket. That's what the baseball bracket was in the end. This is
right.
You weren't thinking about competitive balance.
See, I need to be looking this. I don't know.
I should have told you earlier.
I'm not. I'm sorry. Yeah, I dropped my guitar pick. My guitar's out of tune. I don't have. I'm not setting up the matchups that are the sexiest and the most appealing. No. I'm thinking about the Bills.
That's fine. That was the idea.
And I think the amount of trauma we've already been through with Kansas City in the playoffs, I want to just sort of soak in that for a week. You got to deal with it, right? You got to beat these people someday, like Lou Saban said one time way back when. And so now is the time. And I know we've done that dance already the last 2 years. If not now, when, right? It's our year. I can feel it. And nope. 2 times in a row, 1 at home. But I'm setting up to me, Pittsburgh with Rodgers, the history of that franchise. These teams have played in the playoffs before. From a Bills perspective, that's a matchup. I can look at the field and go this is a big game. This is a playoff game. This feels right? And especially with Rodgers in that spot, assuming he makes it all the way to the end of the season, and then the Chiefs following that works to me.
Okay. So, right, it's an important distinction for this game because, if the Blue Jays were, you and I are sitting there going, what would be the perfect bracket for the Blue Jays? It would not probably be that the winner of Red Sox-Yankees would be their opponent.
Right.
It might be this series winner would be their opponent, but they don't reseed, and, it's two different objectives. So, Jacksonville is your 2. Wow. All right. And then who are the last 2 teams in?
Chargers and Broncos. I'm going to predict the Colts. Chargers, Broncos, Colts. 2 of those 3. I don't know what's better. They all in different. They all work.
Do you want Jacksonville to beat Kansas City in the second round?
Well, I mean, I would when I sit down to watch the game, but hypothetically putting this together, I feel like Kansas City Buffalo is the game everyone will want. Right, so if we're doing the thing we did with the baseball bracket, when I looked at that, and I think I still have that screenshot saved of the matchups, and just went, man, that is beautiful. It just it's perfect. I think Chiefs Bills on that grid meeting or being in line to meet is I think the most appealing thing you could get. So, again, that's not easiest path necessarily at all. It's more what's got the most juice.
Okay. Who beats Jacksonville in the wild card round of these teams, or does nobody beat them? Colts, Chargers, Broncos, the three teams you mentioned. Because if I'm going to put one of those teams at 7, which is what I'm doing right now, then for you to get what you want, Steelers and Chiefs as the two Bills opponents, Jacksonville has to win. The 2 has to win the first round.
Right.
Because then otherwise you'd play whoever they lose to in the first round. And I think maybe from a Bills standpoint, if you get this, even if it's Indianapolis, Jacksonville or Indianapolis kind of roll through an easy season and get to 12 wins and the Bills get to 14 wins or something like that, then you could have a scenario here where Kansas City 3, say Jacksonville loses to a good wild card team in 2-7. Kansas City 3 gets the winner of Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and that's probably it's only October 1st, but probably best case for the Bills for chances of getting there is the Chiefs and the Ravens canceling each other out, or one of them goes away in those games, or even the Steelers too. And then you're left with Jacksonville,
Chargers,
Indianapolis,
Broncos,
Denver, LA.
Right.
You think?
Yeah, I think any one of those 3 teams that I mentioned for the 6 and 7 could beat Jacksonville. Like if whoever's in that 7 spot, whichever one of those 3 teams ends up in that spot, I wouldn't expect, even if Jacksonville's got the big fancy 12-win record and these other teams won 10, I don't think that's a field goal spread. That's not a big number, I don't think. I think those teams would be viewed probably pretty close to equal. Both the Chargers and the Broncos would have, come through the AFC West, which looks to be harder. Although if the Colts are that caliber a team and Jacksonville is, then maybe, and I'm not even thinking about Houston for this. Still, I think that it's realistic to think that the 7, it doesn't have to be the blowout 3:30 on Saturday wild card game necessarily.
The AFC South Invitational?
It could actually, be an upset.
All right, so let's just put something down here before we take a break. 6-7. Oh, hi. 6-7.
Oh, jeez.
What do you want?
Well, I want to know what it means.
It means it's great.
Okay.
So that's enough. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
It means it's great.
All right, good.
Who do you want there?
I think I want Denver and the Chargers.
Denver 6?
Yeah.
Denver, KC?
Yeah. I'm going to let the Colts sort of wither and die.
All right. There is like the Bills angle here. There's the entertainment value angle here. And there's also like what's realistic. And in this scenario, and I'm not correcting you or anything like this, we're just sort of spitballing so far, but Jacksonville has a great season in this outcome, right? The AFC South Invitational is never the 2 seed.
Right.
It's the 4.
Right.
Right? So this way, whether it's the Jaguars or the Colts, they get way up here and end up, maybe you want them to win.
I think for we got to take a break, and I don't want to muddy the waters because you're close to having something written down there.
Oh,
but from the logo historic standpoint, the Colts instead of Jacksonville works way better. Like if your if your playoff pool is Buffalo, Indianapolis, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Denver, the Chargers. I mean, it's the AFL invitation. This looks, not the call, but it just looks great.
Let's change it.
Okay, let's change it. I like that way better.
Indy's in, Jacksonville is out, all the way
Jacksonville and their teal, get out of here.
30 years, no respect.
That stupid mascot, Roar, or whatever its name is.
Rar?
Roar, I don't know.
Rar. 803-0550, Sal at 4. The Sabres home tonight to the Penguins. Their final preseason home game. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
I think freshman year of college, like it kind of clicked. I had never really played tight end before. And coming from high school, like we ran the triple option. I was just kind of this skinny receiver that they'd split out there. But I kind of liked just gluing to guys, you know what I mean? And we get to college and I'm finding like I'm having a lot of success blocking kind of some of the upperclassmen. And I figured like, hey, if I'm able to do this right now, if I can really just stick with it and kind of admit, where my shortcomings are and work on that while still like doing really well with the stuff that I do well, that this could kind of be something that works out well for me.
Welcome to the show, Jackson Hawes. So he must be, I think, referring to his time at Yale.
Right.
Then he would transfer to Georgia Tech. Feels like almost how really good high school players move to states where they get eyeballs like Gronk did.
Right.
So he goes from Yale to Georgia Tech. Didn't catch many passes for Georgia Tech. I don't know exactly what his role was, but 16 catches in 12 games. And he's on that kind of pace here, but he's murdering people up front.
He got noticed for his blocking there. Maybe he got noticed for his blocking at Yale, and that's how he got to Georgia Tech. Even I didn't go back and look at his stats at Yale either to know if
there aren't any.
Okay, how much of a pass catcher he was at Yale?
None.
So
zip.
Yeah, it sounds like he found what he feels like. I don't know, not necessarily an edge, but an edge, a way to get there. A way to get yourself known and noticed and end up being drafted, and you're in the NFL catching touchdowns now.
At least one
right
that paid pretty well.
Yes.
Against the Dolphins. 803-0550. What do you think of our working AFC playoff bracket? What would you do? What would you change? Right now we're at Bills 1. That's not going to change. I think that's sort of the point. I'd really like the Bills to be the 3 seed. No one is going to say that. No one that cares about them, that wants them to win, is going to say that. So Bills 1. Where we left it was Indianapolis 2, because Bulldog likes the Colts logo more than the Jaguars logo. So this is how serious this is.
There's more history there, yeah.
Colts 2, which means they have a very nice season, but maybe are considered not actually good. One of those.
Right.
Tennessee, when they got the 1.
Yep.
Let's play them. So Colts at maybe 12 or 13 wins. Chiefs at 3. Not the Chargers or the Broncos. No. You want the Chiefs here in January, you're saying?
Yes.
Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore 5. Denver 6, LA 7. Which team, this isn't maybe saying much, which team in here wouldn't take this result?
Oh, boy.
Maybe Denver and LA would rather play for the division title.
Right. They've got, Denver has the same record as the Chiefs right now, and of course the Chargers just lost their first game, so they're a game up on them.
Don't you think that if you offered Baltimore the 5 right now,
they would sign in blood? Yeah, like John Harbaugh might give you like a little bit of one of his fingers
5
for the opportunity to be in the playoffs.
Plus a finger.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm going to do with this piece of John Harbaugh's finger. But I think
keep it.
In a jar.
Keep it. No, John.
Weird.
It's a nice gesture, but we don't want it.
Right. He takes the cleaver out and is ready to it's fine.
It's okay.
I don't need
keep your finger.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Indy would love it. Chiefs would love it.
Yeah, I think so.
Another division title.
Yep.
Pittsburgh would love it. Denver, LA. Well, we'll give you a playoff spot, but you're on the road. Yes or no? Week 4. They both say no, I think. Chargers definitely say no. Denver, I think, probably also says no. Agree?
I think I would say no if I were those teams. So, yeah, I think they say no.
Okay.
But I don't care.
No, you're not those teams.
No, I'm not.
That's right. 803-0550.
And I want to be careful about I want Kansas City. Like I'm mixing things here. I'm mixing what I like as a result. I'm trying to get a hybrid here. I want it to look good. I want it to have the effect on football fans that the baseball playoff grid had on you and I when we looked at it. But I also, want it to be feasible. Kansas City's the hardest matchup you could ask for. So it's not like I want them, but I think it's what the country will want is those two teams playing again, I think. I mean, is that am I being too flat? No, I mean, it's a marquee matchup.
You're doing two different exercises.
Right. That's right.
The one for the Bills, see, like, this is debatable, though. Kansas City, it's been 4 games. They look good Sunday. They haven't looked as good otherwise. Are you better off playing them in the playoffs or the Chargers? And I think most people would say the Chargers because they don't have the experience. But, the Chiefs are kind of like, it's kind of played out. Maybe you would think, Kelsey is shot and what are their weapons like? Just they can't run the ball. These sort of points we were in a big hurry to make before their last game about how flawed they are. So, and then you might want the sort of the revenge element as well. So you could want the Chiefs, and you could also just think like they're not as good as they've been. So that's the game I want, and that LA isn't scary. But before Sunday, it was easier to sort of look at the Chargers and be like, I don't know. There's a lot
going on there.
Right there.
Yeah.
And then they go to the Giants and lose. They never even had the lead in the game. So that's the fun of this, I think. You want to make it about logos, you can make it about logos. I just think like sort of how the Bills might draw up the AFC is fun to imagine. And, there are teams in here that still are, I mean, everybody's still alive, I guess, but that you're not going to think of as playoff teams. For example, indulge me, the Browns. If the whole season goes by and nobody can score on the Browns, Cincinnati should have lost. Baltimore, like that was in the second half. Like they did score 41 points, to be fair, but they kind of, they struggled for a while in that game. Halftime was maybe 10-6 in that. I'm not sure. Then you have Green Bay, which is, destroying people, but they scored 10 points
and lost
in Cleveland. Right. And then what last week? Oh, Detroit. Well, I don't know. Cleveland's not going to make the playoffs. But maybe somebody like that does. And then they're the 7, which makes life, this is what the Bills have enjoyed for 5 years. Being the 2 and playing Skylar Thompson and Mason Rudolph and Bo Nix and, winning every time.
Right.
And so, no, they're not the one. They don't get the week off. But they come closest to the week off.
That's right.
Getting those games. They're playing backups in the fourth quarter against Denver, if they want to, last year. So 1 is better, but 2 is still good. You're home the second week. Maybe the second round matchup sort of looks right. They don't reseed or anything, or well, they do, but it's not like you're picking your own opponents. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. You want the 1. The 2 can feel good about its life. And so on. Let's go to Tom here. Hi, Tom.
How you doing, Mike? Hey, Bulldog. How's it going?
Good, Tom. Thanks for calling.
Yes. Mike, really quick. This is all lighthearted. I just wanted to make a note. I was laughing when you mentioned that you bet on a hockey preseason game. And sorry, I was just laughing about that. But
I only said it to be funny, so good.
I know you did. I'm in Mets therapy. You're welcome to the class as well. But anyways, but I want to get to the Bills real quick. I've been listening to the show all day. I just retired. I do it because I can and I enjoy it. And, the stuff with New England that everyone's saying, I get it. I know our defense is far from good at the moment, but we're supposed to be in the Super Bowl, and it's almost going overboard. Like it almost sounds like they're favored and we should be afraid.
Well, Tom, look, no one in here has said the word Patriots once. Why don't you fill us in on what you're hearing?
Oh, no, all day, just like callers and stuff.
Well, not on this show has anybody even mentioned New England, so tell us what,
Maybe not on your show, okay. But all day, like with Jeremy and then with Tasker and Chris Brown, it's like everyone's like, they're like almost petrified of the Patriots. It's like too much. We're supposed
Well,
to be in the bowl.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I'm not petrified of them, but I'm mindful. I am respectful of what they are. I think watching the Bills have a tough time handling Spencer Rattler. Maybe you're getting this feeling from me already earlier this week. I mean, we haven't talked about the Patriots yet today, but earlier this week already, I've said like they couldn't handle Spencer Rattler, and he couldn't really throw the ball effectively at all. Drake May's a better player across the board than Rattler is, and his scrambling is effective, and the Bills have been struggling with that. So I think this is. I mean, it'd be hard to say it's a harder game than the opener was. I mean, Baltimore was coming in as pretty much the same kind of favorite as the Bills, and their season is derailed already just a month in, mostly. But this is easily a harder game to me than Miami or New Orleans. Like, it's not even close. So I think it's a bigger test, is what I think you're hearing. I don't want to speak for any of my coworkers, but that's how I feel about it. I think this is a tougher test. I don't feel comfortable at all about even assuming the Bills will cover the 7.5 or whatever it's at, today.
I believe that's the number.
I think it's a tough game.
Me too. Yet again, like the show we're doing, the whole point has been so far since we started, put a bracket together. You have not even mentioned the Patriots as a
right. I don't think they're making
team.
it,
Nobody in here I think is scared,
right?
Or else we would put them, in. I agree with what you said about them. I think they're coming, and I think they could win Sunday night. The Bills have not had the easy time with the Patriots that they've had with the Dolphins. And, even that has been close games sometimes.
I know it'll sound probably to a lot of people, and maybe a lot of fans will feel surprised, even stunned. I'm just telling you, the Bills lose this game Sunday night, I will not be surprised at all. I think the way they look, the fine line they've been cutting during, in games, like they've been in close games, they end up winning by 10 or 12 points the last couple of weeks against teams that to me are not New England's equal. And so I would have been surprised, very surprised, stunned even, to lose to New Orleans, very surprised to lose to Miami. Baltimore was a coin flip going in, and it was 42-41. This game, to me, it would not surprise me at all if they lost this game. I haven't mentioned the Jets. That was such a walkover. This is a hard game, I think. Even with it being at home and the fancy snow uniforms or whatever, the rivalry thing.
Bills have never won a game in those uniforms.
That's right. So I think this is a tough game.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Mike Schopp and the Bulldogs. Sal at 4. This is WGR. Maybe not top of mind, but let's think about it for a moment. Your electrical system. What will you do if you have a problem? Or, better, think about it in terms of getting in front of whatever problems you might imagine happening based on whatever your setup is. Home or business, you want an electrician you can trust. My recommendation is Empire Electric. They're the pros in both residential and commercial electrical work. Everything from moving an outlet to upgrading that old fuse box to a modern circuit breaker. Call the experts at Empire Electric, empireelectricians.com. Empire a dream for the Bills, AFC playoff bracket. Realistic, but perfect. And I know some of you out there are sort of fiddling around with the idea, trying to figure out what you like. I think there's one. So far it's Bulldog's bracket. I just asked him to line this up, and I wrote down what he said. I have not really contributed to it. But I think there's one thing about it that fans will not choose.
Playing the Chiefs?
No, but we don't even know that yet, right? Like, you're sort of setting it up where Indianapolis is the 2 here on yours, and maybe they lose.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're only playing Kansas. The 1 can't play the 3 in the second round, right? So you
right. No, it's the AFC title game. That's the matchup I have in mind when I'm thinking about the Chiefs.
So I think so you went Bills 1, then Colts, Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens, Broncos, Chargers, 2 through 7. I think Bills fans, like almost all of them right now, would say, let's bury Baltimore. Get them out.
Okay.
Operation Bury Baltimore. Who are you rooting for? Houston and Baltimore. Cooper Rush. Get the Ravens as many losses as they can possibly have, and so they miss. They have the Rams next week, and maybe Jackson misses that game. They get to 1-5, and you want them out, right? I mean, who's worried about Houston? You want the Ravens out, and then figure it out. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland. I mean, figure it out. So I think maybe the Bills right now are on that train of thought. Just like, I mean, not the Bills, but, all of us, right? Like, just sort of, let's kill the Ravens. Get them out of the picture. And, losing games like this, maybe if they get to a record like 1-5, what happens?
So in that case, I'm stuffing maybe a second AFC South team in. I don't think there's anyone else. Cleveland's not making it. Cincinnati's not making it. I don't. I guess the Patriots could enter the chat, so to speak, at that point. But maybe that's where a Jacksonville or a Houston, I suppose, shows up in that wild card spot instead of Baltimore.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean that works. I'm just looking for that. I've been doing 2 jobs at once or 2 tasks at the same time. I want the grid to look good to objective fans. So we don't look at the grid and go, oh, who's playing at 4:00 on Saturday? Oh, God, is it nice out? Can I do something else? Right? Do I have any hours left at the golf simulator? No, it's going to be January. I got to do something. I'm not doing this. I'm trying to, I want to avoid that because this is where this started at inception. It's that the baseball playoff matchups all look so great on paper, and yesterday was fantastic. All the light game, which I fell asleep for, was not competitive.
No.
But the other 3 games were just perfect October, even though it was September 30th baseball. So I'm thinking about that. And that's why, weaker teams aren't in, and a team like Baltimore is, because they're sexy to, Montana.
Sexy to Montana. Love it. Will Sal want to play our game? We'll find out, get the latest on Bill's injuries. Speaking of baseball, Rocchio for Cleveland has just homered in the 8th, and the Guardians are now up 2-1 on Detroit in that game, looking to tie the series. The Tigers have had runners on the whole day.
They just added another one. Back-to-back doubles, looks like.
3-1.
3-1.
Did Rocchio, I think he had a homer, didn't he?
Yeah, there was a homer, and then another guy was on second. Didn't see how he got there, and now another double.
They didn't just put him on second to make the game shorter like they would do in the regular season?
Right.
All right, 3-1 now. Thanks for that. Sal next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. The Sabres home to Pittsburgh tonight. Preseason action. Pregame at 6. Here you were able to pick the matchups, you would pick these. Boston, New York.
Right, you said that. I just said they all appeal to me for various historical reasons. Yeah, right. Right.
We both thought they were great.
Yeah, same.
We both thought they were great.
Yeah.
Boston, New York, Detroit, Cleveland. They were racing each other down the stretch. Like keep it going. In the Central there, the Tigers and Guardians. That's what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the NL, you have Reds, Dodgers, which, like you said, is fun if you're old enough to remember the rivalry. Although that might be over already. And then Padres, Cubs even has a reference point from the 80s in a playoff series. So tough maybe to align the teams differently that might have been more appealing. So I thought if we could likewise line up the NFL playoffs, how would we do it? And I'm going to start this by saying, I think we can maybe all get on board with this, put the Bills at 1.
Okay.
Right? Would anybody want them not to be the 1 for any reason? Would that, unless you hate them? Why would anybody want to have the Bills? Well, I want to go to extra games. I want the extra game because it's fun to watch games. That would be maybe the only reason behind wanting them to not be the 1
Sure,
seed.
and being able to do this with 3 matchups instead of 2 would be a little more fun too, perhaps. But no, let's do it with just the 2 games. I think we can find our way.
So there are, just to set us up, there are a couple of different angles with this. Do you want it to be as easy as possible? Are we getting the Browns to the playoffs? What do we want to do with that? I mean, do we want it to be as easy as possible? Do you feel so good about what they are that you just want the opposite? You want the best teams because you want to knock them out, on your dream path to that first ever Super Bowl win? So anyway, some certain ways to play it. But Bills at 1, then what? What would you do next?
Well, I don't want to be so bold as to say, give me Baltimore and then give me Kansas City. I think that's the most satisfying path. If, for the purposes of the exercise, are we assuming the Bills just win these games, or is that part of the point? We got to set it up right. So
no, they have to play them.
They have to right. So I'm not just going to assume I win no matter what. I think I don't want both of those teams.
What about the Ravens and Chiefs playing each other?
That's fine. I think that's fine.
Would that be ideal? Or are the Ravens down so bad that you want to bury them or just not even worry about it?
I think you should expect to have to play one, even how down bad they are. To me, it is not at all. Are they still favored to win their division, or did Pittsburgh take that over?
I will look. They're not favored to win Sunday anymore.
Okay,
so
yeah. They might. I mean, if Jackson misses a couple weeks and they drop a couple more games, they might just be dead in the water here, and so it won't even really matter. But sitting here today, I guess it's.
Just one change from what we heard from Bills head coach Sean McDermott when it comes to the official injury report today. Jackson Hawes with an ankle was limited. As for Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, and Spencer Brown, each were also limited, making their returns to practice, and then just one player did not participate, that being linebacker Dorian Williams. He is dealing with a leg issue. Stay tuned. Sal Capaccio is going to join the show next to give us the latest on what he saw with the Bills. And a reminder, Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-million. Cardinals running back Trey Benson heading to IR. He's going to miss at least the next 4 games with a knee injury. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson not at practice today. He is dealing with a hamstring. This does, of course, put his status for this weekend in doubt. And Bucs running back Bucky Irving considered week to week with a foot sprain. We also had some other quarterback news today. The Browns officially going to third-round rookie Dylan Gabriel. He's going to get the start versus Minnesota in London. And then Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels medically cleared and practiced in full earlier today. Sabres game night tonight, 6 p.m. pregame, 7 p.m. puck drop. It is home against Pittsburgh. We have just 2 more preseason games this season. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is going to get the start in net tonight. We'll see how long he goes. It could be the whole game or just 2 periods. And then in playoff baseball, the Guardians are up 3-1 on the Tigers in the 8th. Detroit, though, is the team that will advance with a win. Also going on right now, Padres have a 1-0 lead on the Cubs in the 3rd. The Padres need a win to keep their season alive, as do the Yankees against Boston. That game coming up at 6, and Cincinnati at 9 when they take on the Dodgers. And Sports Talk on WGR is presented by Paramount Plus. Sylvester Stallone is back in the original hit series Tulsa King. This season, Dwight faces his most dangerous adversaries yet, forcing him to fight for everything he's built and protect his empire. Stream the new season of Tulsa King exclusively on Paramount Plus. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Well, you didn't ask, but I'm sitting here thinking, as always, how best to start the conversation with Sal.
I have an idea.
Okay, I came up with one, but what's yours? Maybe it's better.
Mine is, Sal, were you mad at Aaron Boone for taking Freed out when he did last night?
That was not mine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was mad, but I also, there's a point where you understand, I don't want him to throw 130 or 40 pitches, I guess, right? Because, honestly, at some point, they start hitting him. You're like, why did he keep him in? He's throwing so many pitches. And I don't want to be that guy, right? So I get it. 100 pitches a lot, but he was still pitching well. It was in the 7th inning. He started that inning. It was just over 100. It wasn't super duper high, but I know that, these days. So yes, I was upset about it. I was more upset that they just could not get runs when they had. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was also upset when they couldn't get runs. But yes, I was upset about it at that point. I thought that he should have stayed in it, at least finished that inning.
Makes it even maybe a little worse. I mean, I don't want to tell you how you should have felt, but that the Red Sox went with Crochet as long as they did.
100%.
117 pitches. Yep. I don't know. I was not expecting him to go out for the 8th. When he went in the dugout after the 7th, I thought, all right, you got the other guy in there, but he went in there, got 2 outs, and brought in the other lefty out of the pen, and it worked out. But yeah.
Way to flick Sal in the back of the ear to start the conversation.
Oh yeah,
really.
I've been dealing with it all today. I got it from Joe and Jeremy this morning. I got it from Zach, an Extra Point show. I get it from you. It's okay. That's the life we live. It's okay.
Look, I'm wearing my Red Sox cap for a second day in a row, and they're in a playoff series. So yeah, man, I gotta lead off with the Yankees.
I did not know that until I heard this morning, and I guess it's the 14 different playoff series, the wild card series like this. The team that lost the first game has never come back and won the series yet.
Well, history is meant to be, rewritten or something. But, Bulldog starting with the Yankees. I got an idea. Were you mad at Aaron Boone? It reminds me of a kid I knew in college who was a Giants fan. And I came home to watch Super Bowl 25 with my friends and family. And for some reason, he had my phone number. And when the Bills lost, immediately the phone rang, and it was Sean. It was this kid who was like, "Did you guys enjoy the game?" That Bulldog didn't quite go that far, but that was such a jerk move to do that. I've never forgotten him because of that. No, that's fine. It's good. We're off and running. My idea was, Wednesday, injury report, what's different today? Jackson Hawes is on it, and I wanted to talk about him. And I almost think every conversation should start with him. For a while, because here's this 5th-round pick who is, absolutely making waves, catching a couple passes, but the blocking, Twitter these days where you can watch just clips of guys everywhere around the league. He's a sight to see. So what have we got here in terms of an injury? And then I want to ask you a couple more things maybe about him.
Well, he's listed with an ankle injury, limited. And I have to be honest with you guys, first of all, we didn't know that going into practice because Sean McDermott didn't list him. He did say several players will be limited, and he didn't mention anybody specifically, so I guess that's why, because he actually didn't even mention Raul Milano or Oliver. I guess he did, but we had to kind of say, somebody followed up I think Matt Bovee is like, hey, just to kind of clarify, Brown, Milano, and Oliver will be doing something today, right? And he's like, yeah, they'll be limited. So it kind of left it open-ended. That being said, I actually saw him in the locker room after practice and just kind of walked by him and didn't talk to him very much. We said hello to each other, I could tell you that, but it wasn't like anything I noticed going on with him. So my sense is that it's just he's limited today, and we'll see where it goes throughout the week, and hopefully everything's okay. But that was even after practice when I saw him. So yeah, that's on the injury, and he joined Brown and Milano and Oliver as limited today. Dorian Williams did not practice with what they say is a knee injury.
Jackson Hawes, Highland High School in Salt Lake City. Haloti Nada went to the same high school. He's from Utah. We've heard now how, who was it, Aaron Cromer or someone else said like he was the best blocking tight end they've ever scouted. It's a 5th-round pick. I wonder, and this kind of thing grows if the player grows in stature, but like, I don't know, just to get the question out, did everybody go to bed Friday night at the draft, dreaming that he would be on the board when it was their pick? Like, to what extent were the Bills like sort of ready to pick this player? Almost no pass receiving production at all as a college player, but they liked what they knew about him, what they saw in him, and I just sort of wonder how deep it ran.
So I think it's a really good question. I don't know like the intricacies, and we could find that out, and I could of like how deep it ran, as you put it, but I would tell you this. First of all, it was Aaron Cromer who said, what he said was he's the best blocking tight end he's ever coached. And then Joe Brady said he's the best blocking tight end we've ever scouted. Okay, good. So two different things there, yes, because two guys from two different positions, right? And where their careers have taken them. I would tell you that from the outside looking in without knowing the exact answer to your question, I think the Bills absolutely wanted to add a blocking tight end to this offense. And maybe they don't get one to the draft, so they find one in free agency they like. I think the Bills really believed after last year, 6 offensive linemen, Alec Anderson. We talked about this immediately after the draft. And whereas they're using Alec Anderson as that 6th offensive lineman, they led the league in that last year. I think the Bills went into this offseason and said, hey, instead of doing that, why don't we grab a tight end who can do it? Then we can actually throw him the ball. And they find their way to this guy. So when you draft him in the 5th round, you say those things. I'm pretty sure they really liked him a lot, wanted him. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to be there, and you still have to do the value on him. Are you going to take him in the 2nd round? No. So you take him, there because he's a guy that you want that spot. You want a guy who you can rely on to be that 13 personnel, 3rd tight end, come in. And when he was drafted even, we were told, hey, he can actually catch some passes. Like, he's not this guy that's just going to sit there. Like, they didn't say this. I'll say this. He's not Lee Smith to me, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
Well, that's, I don't think I said it at the time, right? But, because there was so much about the draft and it was so much defense. Yeah. But in my head, I'm sure I thought, they just drafted Lee Smith in the 5th round. What are we doing?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Which, I don't need to admit that I thought that, but I'm sure I thought it. Like, what are we doing here? I drafted a blocking sled. Come on,
because he was portrayed like that by everybody. Yeah. And you look at the stats, and it goes. But then you watch him, and this is the thing that we don't get to see totally, right? We do with some of the higher picks. I mean, I didn't know about a tight end out of Yale that went to Georgia Tech after his 4 years, and this is the stuff that we don't see. Like, they see the athleticism, they're scouting, they're watching and going, this guy's actually a good athlete, he can play. Like, we can put him on the field, we can throw him a pass. And then once he comes to rookie camp, I remember this though, guys. I remember going to rookie camp, and because it's rookie camp, he's like the only tight end out there, right? 'Cause Dalton can't be out there, and Dawson. Maybe there was somebody else. It wasn't really the only one. Yeah. But he's the only one really making the roster. So you know what they did? They threw him a bunch of passes because he's like, we got to get this guy going because he's the only guy out here. It's his only time to catch passes. And he was catching passes. And I'm like, he can actually catch some passes. He can run some routes. Maybe they got a little more here. And I think the Bills recognize that a little bit more as well. So, now he fits into the offense even more. He fits in where he can actually catch some passes, and he can pose a little bit more of a threat. If he's on the field, you think, okay, he's going to block, but all of a sudden he leaks out, he sneaks out, and you get what you get against New Orleans, which is 1 target, 1 catch, but that went for, 20-plus yards, which is really nice.
So summing it all up, not only is he kind of a fun story and the background is interesting, the role is interesting, but the bottom line here is I think, maybe not as important as any other player on the offense, but he's up there, right? I mean, this is an important role that they sought out and found like maybe the perfect guy for. Here's Alec Anderson, but he can catch. and we can do so many more things out of our stuff with him on the field. You know, they're using fullbacks with him too sometimes, or fullbacks with multiple tight ends. And they're just sort of furthering what they were good at last year. And so far, so good.
Yeah, they actually have, I think they've run more 13 than any team in the league, but they haven't run as much 12 this year, 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. It's either 13 or they actually run 11, 1 tight end on the field, 1 running back, 1 tight end. And they're very good, according to the analytics, at running, believe it or not, with only 1 tight end on the field. So I guess to me, it doesn't have to be about what's one or the other. They just have options. They can really do a lot of different things, which is what they've always wanted. I remember going back to, Ken Dorsey, being the offensive coordinator, and really them always talking about just wanting to have options to dictate what the defense has to do and put the defense in a bind. And maybe they didn't get there quite enough. And then they draft Dalton Kincaid, and it doesn't quite get there the way they want it to. And now I really see you're thinking the full vision of what they've wanted from this offense when it comes to personnel groupings, and just saying we can throw a lot of different groupings at you, and you're going to have to respond. And due to that response, we're going to be able to do some things that we like, because we're not afraid to throw it to those guys, and we're certainly not afraid to run it with those guys.
You know, I'm not sure how much this is to even say, but because we're not going to find an answer to it for maybe a long time. It's more like an off-season quest, I think. Just how much of a sweat it was on Saturday at the draft. Like how early were they thinking? Maybe we better. Was it the 4th round? Just. Right. Pick by pick coming off the board, like if this was a guy they really had targeted for this very specific role that he's walked right into as a rookie and is flourishing, like that's rare for a Saturday pick to be that guy. And I wonder if they were tempted to rush it. Maybe they even did. Maybe they had 7th round grade on him and just went like, we got to do it now because I'm worried about whomever getting smart to this.
That's what's so interesting to me about this player, because it might be that. And I don't know where you exactly go to determine this, but maybe most teams would not have had him on their board at all. Like somebody that plays this role. Why do we need this? Passing league and everything like that.
We find this guy on the street.
16 total catches in college. Right. Like he's their UDFA. And so that would be my guess, is that the Bills, by the 5th round, they're like, the 4th round, we're not worried about this. Or even Friday, we're not worried about getting sniped on Jackson Hawes. But 5th round, you know what? We have a pretty good team here. If we like them, let's do it. And it wasn't, how could you blame them? Even if it was supposed to be, you never know with drafts when he was supposed to go. So anyway, I love that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting puzzle too, because blocking tight end, can you justify taking the 2nd or 3rd round? No. Generally, though, those are guys that you want to make an impact more quickly. And what we've seen that hasn't happened, one, due to injury, obviously, but we've talked a lot about Landon Jackson, even TJ Sanders. The Bills just have this roster, though, where it's tough for guys to do that. It just is. It's tough for guys to come in as 2nd and 3rd round picks and make impacts right away on a roster that's pretty deep and good and contending for a Super Bowl. It's just the reality of it. As much as people want to see it, I get it, but that's not the case. But here's a specific player, specific role that you get in the 5th round that actually can come in and make an impact. And you're not drafting for depth. You're drafting for literally a specific role, but yet his role only requires him to have a late round pick on him. So it's fascinating, and I agree with you.
By the way, Mike Giardi, Boston Sports Journal, who will be on our show tomorrow, points out that the Bills have run 22 personnel. So Gilliam probably, right? Halfback,
two backs, yeah, right.
14% of their snaps, 33 snaps this year have been.
And by the way, they've run all 3 tight ends and Gilliam at the same time on the field. You think about that, right? And
that is jumbo.
That is really right. And,
we're going to need some more digits for that.
And you can throw out of that too, which is kind of crazy, right? And that's kind of what the Bills have wanted to do, which is just basically say you have no idea what's coming right now.
It really is something that we're a month in here, and seeing his name show up on the injury report, it's like, I hope he's okay. Like a month ago, I would not have given him the time of day. Honestly, I'm just being real here. It's not someone, despite all of this, we talked about this at the draft and what you thought their plan was for him, and you couldn't have been more right, as it turns out. But even still, it's just like, whatever. And now a month in, man, I hope he's okay.
I think I'm already looking ahead to the Monday morning after next year's draft, and the Bills will have scored their 30 points a game again. and they'll have let Elijah Moore go. No targets on Sunday. They'll have let, one or two other receivers go. Not signed anybody, not drafted any. And then, the morning guys are talking, and there's Brandon Bean on the hotline. You guys want to do this again? I mean, just 30 points a game? 3? What do you want now? Want to see 4? Want to see 4 tight ends? Because I'll do it. Anyway, we'll see what happens. You got to look at practice today. Oliver and Milano both on the field.
Yeah, both out there at practice today. Didn't seem like, I don't know, I think Ed might have had a little wrap on it. Like no brace or anything like that,
Right.
On his ankle. And he was working on the field with a regular blue practice jersey. Same thing with Matt Milano, and he was moving well. Now, remember, Milano's, it's a pack, right? So whether he's got something there, you can't really tell necessarily under the pads, but there was nothing inhibiting him. In fact, I used to have video of him attacking a bag and tackling a bag, so that was good as well. That seemed good. And then Spencer Brown was practicing today as well. So really, all 3 of their starters who've been banged up are back. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be playing. We did talk to Ed Oliver after practice, and he kind of didn't give us a clue on it. And we're just asking him, what do you think and what happened and all that. And it is what it is. It is what it is. It's football. And then someone actually specifically did say, like, what happened? And he said, well, what were you guys told? Is what he said, basically.
Let's get our story straight.
You got stepped on. He's like, I got stepped on. That's right. I got stepped on. So, yeah, he said he got stepped on. He said it's football. Things like that happen. Frustrating for him. And he felt he played really well against Baltimore. And I agree, obviously. And because I think it showed. And, this play, he was one of the better players on the field that night. And, I think he was really just kind of frustrated. He wasn't able to pick up right where he left off the next week. But, guys, there's no guarantee he's going to play this week either. I just think even talking to him, like, we'll see where it goes day by day, one day at a time. I think Milano might be a little different there. I would say, though, Milano would be, if he's going to play, he's probably on the field a lot, where Oliver's going to be in a rotation. So there's probably a lot of decisions to be made there.
No Dorian Williams, maybe?
No Dorian Williams, and that might, maybe that's where, okay, well, is Matt good? Then he can play, and, you don't have his backup. But honestly, at this point, I think Shaq Thompson could very well be the main backup to Matt Milano. And I mean, Dorian was, until he got hurt a little bit, came out of the game late on Sunday. But I really think that Shaq Thompson's played a valuable role for this team, and I wouldn't be surprised if, they go into this game, it's Milano and it's Thompson. And I think Shaq Thompson has earned and shown that he can be on the field and they can trust him, and no, why not? But even at his older age here, that he's making some impactful plays.
McDermott made a comment yesterday, sorry, Bulldog, that it sounded like he was really fond of Thompson. Like, this is a guy that they really wanted here. Another one.
Well, first round pick when he was in Carolina, right? I mean, Sean. So Sean has a very long history and successful history with this player. Knows him intimately, knows him very well. Guy that they wanted to bring in, I think, to look, this is, again, the response to what offenses are doing, going back to the Bills. Teams are having to figure this out against the Bills on how to play their heavier personnel. But, guys, teams are doing it against the Bills now. The Bills are seeing a lot more heavier personnel than they have in the past. I talked with Shaq about this after the game on Sunday, and I said, it seems as though teams are playing more heavier personnel against you guys. And now he wasn't here last year, right? But, he said that's just a trend in the league and what teams are doing. And they're going a little heavier, and you got to be prepared for that. And I just think, so Jackson Hawes is a great example of how I think specifically they targeted a guy like Jackson Hawes to do that on offense. I think they specifically targeted Shaq Thompson to be able to have that response on defense, to be honest with you.
I feel like every time I noticed him Sunday, it was for a good reason.
Yeah, Bulldog, he brings a lot to the party, as they say, when he hits somebody. I mean, he makes a play, a hit, it seems like, in each game that gets his teammates energized and shows that he's there to play and he understands the position. He is a linebacker, right? This is kind of an old school linebacker in a new school NFL, and he plays it. He is a tweener. That's what he is. He was kind of a safety linebacker when he came in the league, big nickel safety. And he's not as much of a safety anymore. He's a little bit older, but he's still a really good athlete. He knows all 3 linebacker. That's what allows him to play all 3 linebacker positions. He can go sideline to sideline. He can go downhill. I don't know if you want him necessarily right now playing, full 60, 70 plays in a game, but he could do it if you had it, if you asked him to.
I'm not sure there's enough time left or any interest on your part, Sal, to play our game today of
What's your game?
Your perfect AFC playoff bracket with the Bills in mind, like what the Bills would draw up, secretly to have be, which is also realistic. And, if you want to do this just for fun and share with us, you can. I think maybe looking at the AFC right now, one wish from Bills fans, if not the Bills too, would be to bury the Ravens. Last week it's Ravens, Chiefs, what do you want? You sort of go back and forth. But now they're at 3 losses and without Lamar Jackson and so many injuries, and they'll get Jackson back. They'll get some of those guys back. And if they get in, they're, I would think, very live. So maybe you just want to see them pile up losses.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that if you want, I don't know if you guys even think this is realistic at this point, to be honest with you, but I'm thinking about like the Bills, if they get in as the top seed, or even let's say they're number 2 and they have to face somebody at home, a Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals, right, would be probably something. I know they have a lot of other talent, but their defense isn't very good. I don't even know if you think that's realistic at this point, to be honest
back
with you.
I think he'll be
back.
Right,
but that's the other thing. If he comes back 3 months, but it's a minimum 3 months, is he actually ready to play at that point? I don't know.
That team looks so finished on Monday night. I mean, they just look like they know they ain't got it, and they're not going to make it out without Burrow. And so we'll see. That's a lot to say. I mean, it's just one game, but they look like they're toast.
But can you find 7 good teams in the AFC? Can you find enough to Sal's point, maybe just like rule out the Bengals? Maybe you can.
Somebody's got to win the South, right?
Right.
And okay, and I shouldn't say that because Indy has looked good. They have looked good. But would you really be deathly scared of the Colts coming here for a playoff game right now? I mean, they have done some nice things. They look good and they can run the football, but that just does not seem to me to be like a threatening position to be in versus a lot of other teams. The Chargers are always this team. We're always doing this with the Chargers. But then they go into New York and look, it's not just their tackles. Yes, that's a big part of it. But it just seems like they're not a team that's going to run away from you ever. So, you're always going to have they have less margin for error, I think, because they can't run away from you. And it might be because of the tackles, but Justin Herbert's completion percentage was terrible on Sunday against the Giants. So
Their tackles are both hurt.
Yeah, how long is Alt? I mean, Slater's out for the year. Is Alt
weeks? I think a couple weeks.
Okay,
not great.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Sal.
You got it, guys.
That's our dude, Sal Capaccio, on the Western Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet, Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Play with it. How would you dream up the AFC playoffs? 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog will look for your calls again next. This is WGR.
Just one change to the official injury report compared to what we heard from Bills head coach Sean McDermott earlier this morning. Jackson Hawes with an ankle was limited today. The things that stayed the same, Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, and Spencer Brown all joining him as limited, but each making their return to practice, and then one player not participating, that being linebacker Dorian Williams as he deals with a leg issue. And the Barnes from Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes from Injured for Help. Call 1-800-8-MILLION. Brutal blow, for the San Francisco 49ers as they take on the Rams tomorrow night for Thursday Night Football. They are going to be without quarterback Brock Purdy and wide receivers Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings. All three have been ruled out. And the Browns, they are officially going to third-round rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel, who's going to get the start versus Minnesota in London. Sabres action tonight. They're at home, 6 p.m. pregame, 7 p.m. puck drop against the Penguins. We just have 2 more preseason games left before the regular season will start next Thursday. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start in net. We're going to see if he goes the whole game or just 2 periods. And then in the baseball playoffs, Guardians force a Game 3 versus the Tigers, a 6-1 win for them. Padres currently up 1-0 on the Cubs in the 4th. San Diego does need a win to keep their season alive, as do the Yankees when they take on Boston at 6, and Cincinnati when they take on the Dodgers at 9. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
The 2-2 pitch. Hit in the air and right. Back by the wall. Perez. That one's gone. What has gotten into these Cleveland Guardians?
Sean McDonough, Bo Naylor for Cleveland. You can't hear a word, right? Like this often happens. We can't make out a word of the broadcast anymore. It's just, and his voice has a way of sort of meeting the pitch of the crowd. Like he has to, his voice will crack because he wants to be above the crowd, which I don't understand. Like why? Like the great announcers never needed to do that. They have microphones and like just turn it up. I don't need to yell. But it's like Chris Fowler is always yelling, and McDonough is always yelling. Which, you know, I get it. You have to have energy, but you can't even hear him. I don't know. If I were he, I would probably blame someone else for that. But Cleveland wins, so that series is 1-1. It's also 1-1 here, or did the Cubs not score? I don't think they scored.
I don't think they did score. I think it's still 1-0 Padres here. What do we got? Top 5.
Top 5. The Padres took Dylan Cease out in the 4th to get lefty-lefty against Pete Crow Armstrong, which is interesting. Like Cease, like they probably wanted him to go long in this game, but they can also use him tomorrow now, I guess. I'm thinking that might be what they told him when they pulled him in the 4th, up 1-0 and 2 on. But it worked out. I'm the manager of the Padres, by the way.
Oh, wow, cool.
Mike Schultz.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's also me. Because if you say it like that, you don't even really know if what you're saying. You're saying Mike Schultz.
Oh, okay, sure. You mentioned that yesterday, and I didn't know if you thought there was a resemblance or what was going on.
I mean,
it's great.
Gray hair
and
glasses.
He's got a
Mike
cap on. He's not wearing a visor. I don't know.
Maybe he does in sort of. He's not allowed to in this.
Right.
Maybe he does in regular life. Maybe he wears a visor. I listen to audiobooks, podcasts to fall asleep. And sometimes I don't remember to put the clock on. So I'll wake up hours later and it'll still be going. Or a different one that my phone thinks I would like will still be going. And I've listened to the same 10 books and podcasts because I don't want to listen to one that I've not heard yet because I'm going to fall asleep. So I pick the same 10 or so shows and books to fall asleep to. And I'm feeling like I'm probably on somebody's list. Like, why am I listening to Fiasco Benghazi every night or something? Like, why is it always Leon Nafok? What is this guy? Is this guy a psycho? Who is this guy out there? Because you know you're being sort of tracked. And so somehow I found a podcast which is all like retro sports games.
They're giving you like the audio of famous games?
Not even famous games.
Just old games.
Almost random games.
Okay, wow.
The other day it was a 1972 Yankees game. Yankees radio broadcast. Messer, White, Rizzuto.
All right.
Who, by the way, were a great team. And part of that, I think, is because they all sound different.
That's important.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
So these are what I'm listening to. And there was one last night from 1950, which was Red Barber. And he's responsible, real quick, he's responsible for weaving in commercials for Post cereal. And somebody hit a home run and it's like, oh, that's a case of Sugar Crisp. I didn't know it was so
right.
I thought maybe on the when the inning's over, you'd have Red Barber talking about cereal.
Yeah, it feels like I think we act like all the commercials we do during postgame, for example, the different reads and all the sponsored stuff, or really anything is that's a new phenomenon, right? There's 4 minutes left in the game. It's brought to you by Verizon. That kind of stuff happens all the time in sports now. Hear it happening in 1950 with Red Barber is pretty sweet, in the flow of the game.
I know. It's so rampant, and it's super annoying if you're paying attention. The Yankees, I listened to the Yankee broadcast last night for a bit, and the cleanup hitter is sponsored by a cleaning service.
Wow. Yeah.
The cleanup hitter is brought to you by... No. The cleanup hitter exists in every game. Nobody's bringing that to me. Baseball is bringing that to me, not Joe Cleaning Service.
Right.
But that's what they do. But yeah, that's exactly 1950.
Right, it was there. Yeah.
It was so there. The Sugar Crisp home run.
I love it.
Chris is with us. Hi, Chris.
Hey guys, how are you? I enjoy the show.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. My first thing is just to put something on your betting board, possibly. There is a parlay for the remainder of the season. Will the Bills benefit from a roughing the punter penalty in the fourth quarter
again
and get an interception to help them win? So I think that would be interesting. But the other one is Greg Rousseau. So Greg Rousseau signs a huge contract in March, big money. Looked at his stats from last year. I think he had 53 total tackles and 8 sacks in the regular season. And right now, he's on pace to have 32 total tackles and 2 sacks. So I don't know him personally, but sometimes I worry in sports when you get that big contract, do you lose motivation to perform? And I hope that's not the case. I mean, it's 4 games. But, I'm just a little concerned about Groot.
I think your concern about his performance is correct. I guess I share your concern. I also don't know him. I don't like assuming that a guy is just, not working as hard, not trying as hard, doesn't care as much because he got the big bag of cash. I know, I'm sure it has happened. I'm sure we've watched it happen with guys on teams we love. But I never want to assume that it's happening. But he is, to me, he's underperforming. I have very infrequently noticed him in these games. I just don't think he's doing. I don't think he's doing a lot. He might be beating his guy enough to have a respectable pass rush win rate or something. I don't know, but I just don't. To me, he's a ghost. If you told me, hey, I just found out Greg Rousseau didn't play in those games, I'd go, oh, well, that checks out. Really, I watch closely. I mean, it's my job. I just don't think I'm getting much there right now. So that's something that I think needs to get off the ground here. He didn't get a crazy. He got a big extension from the Bills, but he did not get like a market rate defensive end free agent to be contract. I mean, again, it's a lot of money, but it's not like he's not at the top of the class or anything, or even near it. Really, I think he's around 20. Which guys that get the top there's a lot of room between the top 40-ish and down to him. So he got paid. He needs to do more, I'd say. Their pass rush in general, I think, needs to do more.
For me, sacks are a quarterback stat, and They're not in games where they're way ahead. I'm not sure how many of his, what did the caller say, 8 sacks last year came with leads or even big leads.
I think 3, if not 3.5 of them came in one game, like the first game of the year.
Well, there's that too. I mean, there's a lot of randomness in that. And this is just to add to the conversation. Not everybody swears by the PFF grades, but you're familiar with Nick Bonito of Denver?
Mm-hmm.
So did I see today that he has 6 pressures in every game so far? Like this guy has become, I think everybody's on board with Nick Bonito as like a star edge rusher. 19th among edge rushers in PFF. Rousseau is 17th. By PFF, he's doing just fine.
That's why I said the
just
thing
doesn't
about
have stats.
That's why I said his win rate might be good, and I just don't. I feel like maybe I'm guilty of the new guy catching my attention, but I feel like I see Bosa threatening the backfield a lot more than I see Rousseau threatening the backfield.
Bosa is 7th, by the way, and Rousseau is 6th in rush defense, which is not something you're going to see in those stats either. Tackles, I guess, sometimes, but
yeah,
I'm not worried. Thanks, Chris. Here's Bill next. Hi, Bill.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Hey, stop me if I'm wrong or you already talked about this, but James Cook with the smelling salt, you could tell when he runs every single time because he'll be lined up, sniffing the salt, throws it to the side, it hits the ground, and he gets the ball. I noticed it 2 games ago, but then last game especially, go back and look at each drive. I mean, I'm sure they noticed it or someone's talked to him about it. If not, but it should be talked about.
What is this now? Is he using that on the field, or is he on the sideline using it?
On the field. No, on the field. It'll be lined up behind Josh, and you can tell if he's going to get the ball or not because he'll take that smelling salt, the little white thing, smell it, drop it to the side, and off he goes.
Ooh, I have not noticed that.
I have not noticed it. Zach is nodding along with Bill, the caller here. I have not noticed that.
Take a look at it. It's almost every single time.
If I remember on Sunday, I will look for it. But I have never thought of that before.
No.
The smelling salt thing is what? Teams can't sanction them or even provide them, but players can use them.
Can still use them. Yeah,
that makes sense.
There was a rule earlier in the summer that the teams were no longer going to be allowed to just have them in the locker room for the guys.
That's how we are with beer. No longer does work give us beer to drink during the show. But if we bring our own.
Those were the days.
Oh, those were the days where there would just be a keg sitting in the corner. Is that something I can't even joke about? Am I in trouble even for making that joke? It's not true.
Well,
I think maybe if I were old, like as old as you and I are at this, I feel like our predecessors probably did have that.
I think that's probably right. There used to be... People used to tell stories about Rick Jeanneret having beers during the games in the press box at the Odd. Way back. I don't know when that stopped, but I know unless that's just myth or something. But because I never saw it myself, I think it would have predated my being in the press box in the '90s. It was a very different world. So
I feel like all the great announcers were maybe buzzed. To be kind. Summerall?
Right.
Like, isn't that sort of the legend of Summerall?
There had to be a rocks glass right there off camera. Like, there's no question about it.
Cosell was, like, famously, visibly or audibly drunk. And there's clips of this where you just know. Yep. There's one of him in Philadelphia, like, whatever, coming out of halftime or something, where he's just slurring his words, and it's like, oh, my God. But maybe we didn't care 50 years ago. Maybe we liked that. I don't know. Here I am starting the segment complaining that I can't hear Sean McDonough because he's the same pitch as the crowd. And yet, maybe we could hear Cosell probably. He was just drunk. Maybe we liked that. Even if the words were slurred, you could at least tell it was him talking. Right. You knew he was talking. No laughing matter. Machado homered?
Yeah, 2-run shot, 3-0 Padres.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Are you on them? I'm on them.
No,
again. Here we go.
I hopped on the Cubs when they were losing 1-0.
Oh, here we go.
So
I wish I hadn't thought of it. I was so annoyed yesterday.
Yeah.
I cashed out on the Padres, which was good, and you secretly bet them at this exactly when I did that.
I love secretly.
Well, you didn't. You didn't want me to know.
I didn't think you need. I didn't even think about you. I just did it. Really was not thinking. Oh, Mike cashed out. Let me bet them. I opened the app and I liked the number and I bet it. I really didn't think I was doing you any harm.
Did you have Boston? I had Boston.
Yeah, I had Boston, but I needed.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I needed a.
You can never just win on one game.
No, I can't. I don't want to win $12.
That was my yearbook quote. I have that Reds World Series ticket.
I'd rather lose 10 than win 12. I think that's my betting
I'd rather
motto.
lose 10 than win 12. That's so good.
That's my betting
wait till Sam on Friday. Tell him that.
Oh, they know.
They do know.
They know.
They do know. Bet sweats. Davis Maddock was on this morning. You can check that out on the Odyssey app. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after this here on WGR.
Hey, folks, how would you like a shot at 25 grand?
Welcome back, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. We will continue to fiddle with our dream AFC playoff bracket. This might be a thing that we just sort of keep going.
Sure, we can revisit it, weekly, bi-weekly, whenever we think
whenever
is
we
right.
want.
Yeah, right.
You know what, guys? I'm sort of feeling the Raiders. We'll put the Raiders in that seven slot and see what happens. Anyway,
I would love to see the Raiders in it, just cause.
Would you rule it out?
Yes.
What are their playoff odds going to be? Like no minus 300, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, the division is so chock full of teams. Like, I think all three of those teams have. I should look. I don't know what their odds are, but I would think all three of those teams have a decent shot at getting in right now.
Minus money.
They got to be buried.
I'll look. I bet you're right. I bet they're all minus. Kansas City for sure. Chargers for sure. Denver probably minus money. Favored to make it.
Yeah.
Are there 7 teams that are favored to make it? Well, look, that'll be interesting. Speaking of odds, Bet Online today. Odds on Connor McDavid's next team. And also Sidney Crosby's. Predictably, the Sabres are last or almost last on both lists, like never ever.
Montreal's got to be the heavy favorite for Crosby. That's been talked about for 2 years already, I think. I'd be stunned if they're not out front by a decent margin.
Avs. Even money. Montreal second.
What do these people know? They don't know anything. They don't know what they're
doing. You take 4-1 on Canadians?
Yeah.
Are they going to be good enough, though? That's the problem with that bet.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they're not Colorado, but I think Montreal looks nice. I mean, okay. I'm not thinking about the goon nonsense that was going on yesterday in their game with Ottawa. I don't know. Did you have any money? Did you have a bet on a preseason game between Ottawa?
It wasn't that one.
It was Ottawa.
I had the
Blackhawks. Ottawa was the team that was guilty of it. But anyway, it was kind of a real ugly game. Cheap shots and all that kind of stuff. I think Montreal's nice. I mean, we'll see if Demidov got slashed at one point, and I don't know if there's word on if he's hurt or not, but it looked like he could have had broken something. I don't know if that happened, but he's nice. He got there in the playoffs. They look sweet. The defenseman Hudson, who won Rookie of the Year, is tremendous.
Got a guess on McDavid? I would have guessed Toronto, and they're 4th.
I mean, Toronto just seems too obvious, so obvious. That doesn't mean that's what I would guess there.
This team is obvious in its own right, but doesn't have Matthews. Like they don't have Rangers for McDavid.
Right, sure.
The favorite.
Yeah, okay.
2-1. Utah is last.
I wonder what that's going to end up looking like after the $17 million contract per year that Kaprizov got. Like, what is McDavid's number? How long is it for? Like, everyone's waiting around for this. We're over here wondering what's going to happen with Alex Tuck at some point. Like that he always has, and now it's even more pronounced. I mean, he's just got them.
Yep.
They have to give him a blank check, basically, and that he's going to be 30 in May.
Kaprizov got that too.
Yeah,
he had them too.
Yeah.
Sabres home to Pittsburgh tonight, pregame with Paul Hamilton at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Back to the Bills after the update here on WGR.
Players were limited today for the Buffalo Bills at practice, 3 of which we heard earlier today from head coach Sean McDermott. Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, and Spencer Brown, each making their return to practice. Jackson Hawes was a late addition to the official injury report. He is dealing with an ankle injury. The only player to not participate, linebacker Dorian Williams, as he deals with a leg issue. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-MILLION. More injury news for the San Francisco 49ers. They're going to be taking on the Rams tomorrow for Thursday Night Football. They're going to be without, though, quarterback Brock Purdy and wide receivers Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings. All 3 have been ruled out. Cardinals running back Trey Benson, he is going to be heading to IR. He's going to miss at least the next 4 games with a knee injury. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson not practicing today as he deals with a hamstring injury. And then the Browns officially going to third-round rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel over Joe Flacco. Gabriel gets a start versus Minnesota in London. Sabres pregame coming up in about an hour at 6 p.m. for a 7 p.m. puck drop. They are home against Pittsburgh, which is 2 preseason games left. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start in net tonight. We'll see if he goes the whole game or just 2 periods. And then in the baseball playoffs, the Guardians do force a Game 3 versus the Tigers. They get a 6-1 win earlier this afternoon. Padres currently have a 3-0 lead on the Cubs in the 6th. Padres do have to win today to keep their season alive, as do the Yankees against Boston. That game will get going in about an hour at 6, and Cincinnati when they take on the Dodgers a little after 9 o'clock. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Hopping on the Padres late wasn't a good idea.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
When did you do that? After the game started?
Right before they got the double play.
When I cashed out, I told you I cashed out, then you bought in?
I went in.
It's Mike Schopp.
I cash out, which I say I never do, and I literally tell you I'm doing it. At that moment, you decide to bet them and not say anything?
The segment was starting.
And the Bulldog.
Oh, yeah, sure. I still have them, and now I don't even know if I want it because of that move. That is a certain kind of move right there.
It's Mike Schopp.
What, you're offended that I bet them because you cashed out?
I'm not offended that you bet them because I cashed out. I'm a little bit offended that you didn't say you were doing it.
And the Bulldog.
I'm sorry I hurt your feelings.
But that makes it even worse because that's what you say when you don't really mean it.
Well, because I don't really mean it. Because I don't think I owe you a damn thing.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I was in an app and I bet them, and that's my private business. I decided to share it with you.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
That's great. The music is great. Nicely done. Yeah. Well, you could use the Odyssey app on demand or don't, because there it is. There's yesterday. wrapped in a nutshell. There it is. AFC West odds. FanDuel. Want to guess them? What are the Chargers to win the AFC West? I mean, you can guess the order. The order is easy.
Well, it's the Chargers are still. I haven't looked since the weekend happened and they lost and the Chiefs won. It could have changed.
It could have. It didn't.
It didn't. Okay. Chargers are plus 200.
Plus 115.
Oh wow. Okay. Chiefs are going to be second ahead of Denver. I'm saying
plus 145.
Okay. I thought I was going to guess.
Oh, you're going to guess numbers? I'm
No,
sorry.
it's all right.
Guess Denver. This would be really good. You're good at this, but this one would be amazing if you got right at it.
Denver is plus 450.
460.
Yeah!
Really good. Plus 460. And Vegas?
Oh, my God. Plus 1,500.
Plus 4,000.
Oh, wow. What a number that is.
Bills to win the AFC East minus 2,000. So $200 wins you $10. You want to win $10?
That sounds like fun.
There's one way to do it. So 2 hours ago, we embarked on what's your dream AFC standings, basically, seedings for when the season is over. And Bulldog gave us his. And you could really, I think there's 2 kinds of people with this. There'd be the 80% of the world's population or higher, which would be like, I'm not doing it. Give me a break. Get out of here. I'm not going to waste my time.
Right.
Shut up.
Well, they don't have this job.
It's got to be 99%. The rest can get lost in it. think of the AFC West for this. So what do you want to have happen? I think the thing you would most want to have happen if you're a Bills fan is for Kansas City to not make the tournament.
Right.
Okay, possible.
Yep.
They have 2 losses. They're not perfect. Possible. Their chances of making the playoffs, however, are really good, and I would ask you to find 7 better teams in the AFC. Of course, the 4 division winners, we're saying they're not going to be one of them by this. Find 3 other teams that are above Kansas City, maybe. Good luck.
Yeah, I included him in my thing, even though it's not. It's obviously the biggest challenge. It's a challenge the Bills have not been able to meet and get past here yet. I just don't think it's realistic that, like you just said, I don't think there are. I think they're still going to win the division now after the way they looked on Sunday. I know Baltimore's down bad and all that, but Worthy being back opened a lot up. And even though they can't run the ball, I just think that they're gonna find their way. So, but yeah, I mean, we'd rather have them not in there. But yeah, who then? If not them, who?
Well, if you think you have it, let us know. Like you're 1 through 7. When you did yours, and it's always here for adjustments, for changes. You put the Chiefs as the 3.
Right, I get the AFC South winner, which I pivoted late to Indianapolis
because you like the logo more.
Because I like the history. Like they're a historic NFL franchise. Jacksonville wears teal.
But in terms of the Bills, you probably don't care about that.
No, not really. I was more looking. We started with the baseball and the matchups and it looking right and all that.
That's right. I made it confusing, as I am, one to do. You are the Bills. You've got the Colts at 2 and the Chargers at 7. Who wins? Who are we rooting for in that game? The AFC South Invitational, 4:30 on Saturday, game 1 of the wild card weekend. Chargers at Colts. We just had Chargers at Texans last year for this, and the Texans won big.
I think I would rather the Colts take the Chargers out.
If the Chargers win and the Bills are the 1, you're playing them in the second round. 7 at 1.
Right.
Whoever the lowest seed is left, lowest or highest? Lowest.
Lowest.
Even though it's a higher number. Highest number, lowest seed. That's who you're playing if you're the 1 in week in
That's why
round 2.
I say I would rather not. My preference would be to knock out the best quarterbacks.
So you want Daniel Jones or Richardson. You want Daniel Jones over Herbert.
Yes.
Okay. So then Chiefs, Denver, 3-6. 4-5, you have Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
Right.
It's going to be tough this way. It's always going to be tough. You want it to be tough, right? That's one way you can do this too. You want it.
Right.
Give me the Ravens and the Chiefs. I don't want it, here. I make the Super Bowl for the first time in forever, maybe win it for the first time, literally ever, and I got people say, "Oh, you only had to play Jacksonville." Right. I mean, just maybe you want to avoid that.
Yeah. So if that works out, what I originally wanted was a way for me to play Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Again, and I'm mixing it up. I'm not just necessarily looking for the easiest path. I'm looking for a realistic path. I don't have to deal. Pittsburgh beats Baltimore. I don't have to deal with them. I got to deal with the Chiefs because they're going to beat Denver, and probably I'm headed that way, is what I think. So, as much as I'd like for Denver to take the Chiefs out, I don't think it would happen. I think the Chiefs are probably the second best team in the conference.
To make this realistic, there's a lot to think about, and it's still so far away. So I'm trying to do mine here, putting the Bills at 1. And I want to put the Chargers at 2.
Okay.
And give them a pretty winnable game in the first round, so that they're on the other side of the bracket in the divisional round, and if they win, they're going to come here and freeze. That's what I'm thinking here, is it'll be the Freezer Bowl, Chargers, Bengals, 82, and they'll come here, it'll be -20, and they just will not deal at all.
But wait a second, though. If they're
AFC Championship.
Oh, okay, right.
I want them on the other side.
I got it. Okay.
Of the divisional round.
All right.
Playing somebody else.
Right.
Beat the 7. I got to figure out who I want to have be the 7. Whoever I pick to have be the 7 is who I would play if they beat the Chargers in this.
Right.
And like New England is interesting, but I don't know that I want that game. And, we'll talk again next week. Maybe we'll see New England and be like, right. Bring it on. I don't know. Right now, I don't know that I want that game. But anyway.
I respect them, but I would take that game in a second right now. New England at Buffalo divisional
round?
Yeah.
After they beat L.A.?
Sure.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, we don't have to ask what the line would be because we have the game this week and it's 7.5. We know what the line would be this week, and that's the answer.
Right.
Would be 7.5. And the weather wouldn't mean anything much to the line.
And after they win 10 games and qualify as the 7, say, I don't think it changes much. If the Bills are a 13 or 14 win team, they're sitting up there, I think it's the same spread.
Then, so let's say I go LA 2, 11 wins, 3-4, the other 2 division winners. If you want Baltimore for that, it might be tough to get them past the 3. It's not going to be as tough to get them to first place. The Bengals are terrible. The Bengals are one of the worst teams in the league. Bottom 5 team in the league right now, I think. They're bad at everything.
Do they not now have 2 games with under 200 yards of offense?
Probably.
Like the opener was that, and I think that's what this game, and it also, this game in Denver, was the largest differential in yards, I think. I don't want to say ever. Maybe it's in some long time. I saw it on Tuesday morning. It was like 300-some yards difference in offense in that game.
The Vikings loss was their worst ever by score, 48-10. The Bengals had never lost a game by 38 points before, if that was the number. So, like I'm saying, I think I can get the Ravens to the AFC North title, but I'm not sure I can get them past the AFC South winner from 1-3.
Yeah.
If the Colts and the Jaguars are, or even one of them is pretty good, Indianapolis probably should win at least 10. I think they should probably win 10. One of those teams should win 11 games. Doesn't have to be right. Maybe they lose to Houston. Maybe they lose to everybody. Maybe it's Daniel Jones' season.
Maybe it just goes away, right?
Maybe it goes away. But how many games does the AFC North winner win? You could get a Pittsburgh season where they get to 11 or 12.
I think 11 is the max. In that
11
division.
is the max.
I think 11 is the max. Even though Pittsburgh is sitting here at 3-1, I don't think they're that good. And Baltimore's already so far behind. Those are the only teams that have a look at it, even though the Bengals still have, they're 500 right now, but they just look like they are sinking. I mean, they are tied to cement blocks right now, the Bengals, in a river. So that's done. I think 11. I would bet right now the winner of that division wins 11 games max.
And the AFC South winner wins at least 10. I think.
Yeah, I like him as the 2, so I've got him even more than right, because I mean in mine,
yours,
right? But yours, you're saying 10, at least 10, or no more than 10. What are you saying?
I'm trying to figure out if the North winner could be the 3. Like, what are the chances of the North winner getting to the 3? I don't think they're great. They're not great getting to the 2. Is Baltimore going to have the second best record in the conference?
No.
No. Is Pittsburgh?
No.
So 3 tops.
Yes.
So then, yeah, I think the perfect Bills bracket is a Baltimore-Kansas City first round. I think that's it. I think Baltimore wins the North with 10 wins. Kansas City gets the wild card with 10 or 11 wins. The game's in Baltimore. There's your 4 or 5. Then, whoever you want at 6-7 or 2-3, you've got those 2 games. If the home team wins both, I get Baltimore, Kansas City winner. Okay. They've just played. They've had to struggle all the way to the end of the season, and now they're going to play each other. Like, that I think is probably best case, is 4 or 5. Then anything you want otherwise. 3-6 can be Indianapolis, Denver. Oh, rematch. Indianapolis, Denver, 3-6. 2-7 can be Chargers, Patriots. Okay?
Sure.
So then I'm getting, if the Patriots win, I'm getting the Patriots. If Denver wins, I'm getting Denver. Second round, off a bye. All right. I mean, I had some trepidation about the New England idea, but, you're right.
No.
You can't be worried. You can't be scared of everything.
No, right.
So then I'm getting either Denver, New England, Baltimore, or Kansas City, the winner. One of them's out this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go from there. And I either get the, Chargers at home in the Freezer Bowl 2. I get the out of the dome from LA. I get the Colts here out of the dome in January. Okay. And then I get that Baltimore Kansas City winner because the winner of that game plays someone else in round 2 and I get Denver in round 2 or something.
Both of us end up having a Kansas City game. Yours is in the divisional round, mine is in the title game. Right? Because I've got Pittsburgh taking Baltimore out in mine.
I've got Pittsburgh going home.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just saying we have the similarity is that we're both in both scenarios we're playing the Chiefs
or the Ravens.
Oh, okay, that's right. You're not assuming a winner one way or the other. Yeah. All right.
I was listening, by the way, to Bet Sweats this morning, and they were talking. Davis Maddock was on. They were talking about the MVP, and Allen is like even money to win the MVP for the second year in a row. That's crazy. But who else would have a better chance at this point? And Davis mentioned Jordan Love. Those guys have mentioned Jordan Love. That was my bet last year. Herbert, right? And Davis, who was a friend of mine and a big Chiefs fan, is like, Mahomes can't win. I think he can. I still think Mahomes has a path to the MVP. Because if they get rolling, which is maybe started, the narrative is going to be how he didn't have Worthy.
Right.
And they played Philadelphia. And Kelsey's old. It'll be like Diggs going away here.
There's so many games left.
That's right.
Like I don't even. I mean, in week what week was the Houston game last year? Was that week 5?
Yes.
Yeah, because the Bills started 3-0, then they lost to Baltimore, and then lost to Houston. He threw for 109 yards. He had 9 completions or something in a game in Houston. And, still, did enough to win the MVP. So, yeah, Mahomes, I mean, I don't think the 5,000-yard, 40-touchdown season is in the window anymore like I was talking about in the summer. Like, I could kind of, they're so down, they're broken, all this. But they could still go. And if they go, he'll get his, I think. What did he throw for in the Baltimore game? I don't even remember what the stats were. Did he go like big? 350 or something?
25 for 37, 270 and 4.
All right, that's 4 touchdowns is awful nice. 270 is righteous. It's not 350, but it's still good, really good, great even.
Yeah, that's it. You take it every week.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think there's still – I would disagree with your friend about that. I think there is still a scenario where he could win the MVP. Because, I mean, we're 4 games in. There's 13 games to go. That's a lot of football.
Pretty good price if you know somebody who lives in, like, West Virginia or farther away. Colin is with us. Hello.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Love the show. Just playing along for a minute with this game, one thing that just kind of keeps it simple for me is the idea of rooting for teams to win the divisions that you just aren't scared of. So thinking about, Bills, Chargers, maybe Steelers, and Colts, and just hoping that those 4 make it to the Final Four so that you're playing maybe the Colts and then the Chargers. That just kind of simplifies it. And I have no problem with not playing the Chiefs or the Ravens. I doubt when my kids grow up and they remember, the Bills Super Bowl win, I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh, well, we didn't play the Chiefs that year.
Totally right.
I won't remember that. So,
right.
But as you're talking, kind of what really stuck out in my mind is no matter how you slice it, it just seems like it's set up so well for the Bills this year. And so what I keep kind of thinking about is, is there any precedent for a team just being super active at the trade deadline. Like, if this is set up more, better this year than any other year, could you see Bean going out and getting multiple studs just to load up in advance of this final run? And when I think about that, the only thing that complicates it is, these guys coming back from suspension, maybe Hairston coming back. I don't know how that lines up, because I think a lot of people are going to think, well, these might be the guys that'll come back and it'll just fix everything. And I almost wish they were coming back a little sooner so we could see how it looked to determine, whether Bean was going to be active at the trade deadline. So I don't know. I just think it's set up so well. My question is, do you think he'll be active at the trade deadline and what that looks like?
I wouldn't want to rule it out. I think he knows what time it is. I mean, the fact that they made the move with all the everybody eats stuff last year for Cooper, forget that it didn't work, really. That he was willing to do that, I think tells you that if there's a weakness here, if he's really worried about Taylor Rapp or really worried about his pass rush, right, despite Gregory Rousseau being whatever number in the PFF rankings.
17.
If they're not getting to the quarterback consistently enough and they need a little more juice, sure. I mean, receiver can always be there too. I think they probably feel like they've got more there now with Moore here and Samuel and Palmer. So I might put that down the list from their standpoint. But as much as they have poured into defense, they still don't have it. They're going to get a couple of weeks before the deadline with the guys all back. Hopefully nobody else is out so they can get a real look at what their defense is. But having another guy in case, what if something happens to Bosa? What if Rapp gets hurt and I've got Hamlin and Bishop as my safeties? I'm trying to win the Super Bowl. And I know I got within a hair of it last year with Hamlin as a starter. But I just think nothing should be off the table, and I would be surprised if they view it any differently.
The caller's asking, what's the precedent? Is there a team that ever just sort of pushed in all the way with draft picks and, young players, whatever that would look like? I don't know of it. I just feel like the football trade deadline is usually an anticlimax, and there have been, last year was kind of cool. There were some receiver moves and there was a little bit of action, but I think that's about as much as you ever see. No reason why it can't happen.
Yeah,
the cap is a reason why.
I wouldn't expect multiple moves. I would not expect them to add Trey Hendrickson and I don't know what safety.
Can't be Tyreek Hill anymore.
Right. I don't think they're going to do two really big things, but one big thing at one of the positions I just mentioned I'd be stunned if it's not something that's on the radar.
Interesting to think about. 803-0550 for your calls. The Sabres play tonight at home against the Penguins. Pregame at 6 with Paul Hamilton. We'll switch to them then. Next, though, more on the Bills. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Lines are open. This is WGR.
4 players limited today as the Bills got back to practice. 3 of those players, it is good news to see them being limited. Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, and Spencer Brown all making their return to practice, but they are joined by Jackson Hawes, who is dealing with an ankle injury. And then just 1 player for the Bills today did not participate in practice, that being linebacker Dorian Williams. He is dealing with a leg injury. And the Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. Bad news for Thursday Night Football. Tomorrow, San Francisco going to be dealing with a lot of injuries. Quarterback Brock Purdy and wide receivers Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings have all been ruled out when they take on the Rams tomorrow night. Cardinals running back Trey Benson is heading to IR. He's going to miss at least the next 4 games with a knee injury. And the Browns do make a switch at quarterback. They go with third-round rookie Dylan Gabriel, who gets a start versus Minnesota in London. Sabres pregame coming up in about a half hour, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. puck drop is home against Pittsburgh. Just 2 more preseason games remain. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start in net tonight. We'll see if he goes the whole game or just 2 periods. And then in the baseball playoffs, 1 game's already in the books, and it's the Guardians. They force a Game 3 versus the Tigers with a 6-1 win. Game 3 is going to be tomorrow. The Padres currently have a 3-0 lead on the Cubs in the 8th. Padres do need to win to keep their season alive. Force a Game 3 also tomorrow, as do the Yankees against Boston. That game getting underway in about a half hour at 6, and Cincinnati against the Dodgers. That game will get going at 9. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Back to your phone calls in just a moment. Fans are excited about these fancy rivalry uniforms the Bills will wear Sunday night. I'm fully on board. For many years, as they've trotted out throwback uniforms that look almost identical to the ones they usually wear, I've been campaigning for a throwback to their first uniforms, silver and light blue, that they wore because Ralph Wilson, with his Detroit roots, had wanted them to look like the Lions, I guess. And they kind of did, but they changed out of that look pretty soon, a year or 2. And they've done that. This is not that uniform. But they're not going to look like the Lions.
But it is silver. Yeah.
It's great. I think it's great. The best uniform game of the weekend, however, because New England's going to wear New England's dark blue usuals, has got to be Tampa-Seattle. They're both wearing throwbacks in the same game. So, Bucks, creamsicle, white, all white.
Oh, the white, yeah. I really like the white version of that.
Me
I like
too.
how the orange, I like. I mean, the orange jerseys are cool, but I think I like the white ones. I like an all white look. With accents. Yeah, I mean, the Bills all white is by far my favorite uniform of theirs. And I think I would say I like the Tampa white with the creamsicle trim, I think, more than the creamsicle tops even.
If you go all the way back to the Bucks and you're sort of a student of this stuff, they had orange numbers, but then they, like in their second or third year, they changed to red to make them easier to spot, easier to see. But originally they wore orange numbers, and they're wearing orange numbers in this game. This uniform, the throwback uniform, is orange numbers.
Authentic. All right.
And the Seahawk uniform is glorious.
The blue, that I'm going to just say Seahawks blue. I don't know what other blue that is. It's
almost a royal blue.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it's royal blue, green, silver. I mean, they were my team when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I loved the Seahawks, and the look is always part of that. And also no stripe on the helmet, which makes it great. So that they're playing in Seattle, which means turf. The only thing that would help this if they played in Tampa, I know it's not their original stadium, but at least it's grass. Now we're cooking with gas, right? It's the Seahawks and the Bucks, and it's like the 80s. Almost. But the game is in Seattle. Still cool.
I really do. I don't think as a kid, I definitely didn't feel the way you felt about Seattle, and I don't really care about the helmet stripe thing, but that blue, I mean what I said. I'm not even thinking about what it actually, I think of it as it's very distinctive in a sports uniform. That's a Seattle blue to me.
Seattle blue.
Seattle blue.
Sounds like a racehorse.
It does.
No, that's Seattle Slew.
This show.
Let's go to
still
Mario.
Free.
Hi.
No charge.
Hi, Mario.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, thank you, Mario.
Hey, on the topic, I know this is going to be a basic suggestion, but I love the '90s blue uniforms with the red helmet. I would love to see the Bills trot out in those and see Allen winning those.
Well, they are going to wear the red helmets at the end of the year. The final game will feature the red helmet, but not the entire uniform.
Right, so Allen will take a snap in the red helmet and then come off the field. That's not as fun.
Probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can pretend it's him.
Right. I wanted to comment on one of the other callers talked about making a trade at the deadline if Bean can be all in on this season, if things are lining up for the Bills. And a couple of weeks ago, a caller called into Brownie and Tasker's show and suggested receiver, and Tasker went off and said, they're scoring the most points. We don't need that. We don't need that right now. But you got to plan. This team has to plan for the playoffs. It's like you can have a lure that catches the most sea bass, but then if you're said, hey, go catch a marlin, you can't look at your lures that only catch bass and say, I don't know why I'm not catching a marlin. I mean, I'm not a fisher, so that makes me a bad analogy.
No, that totally works.
Remember that. Right. Like
you sounded really knowledgeable to me.
You said lure correctly and everything.
Well,
you know names of fish.
I'm a lawyer, so I'm good at fluffing up stuff. But for what it's worth, the Chiefs game, granted, it didn't come down to one play, but I remember, like it was yesterday, that last play when the Chiefs stacked the box and brought a corner blitz, and everyone was complaining that, we don't have receivers that stretch the field. No one could stretch the field that entire game, let alone that last play. So it makes me look ahead. So I heard reports today again that A.J. Brown is really unhappy, and the Eagles might actually look to shop him and get some draft capital out of him. I don't know what that contract looks like, but do you guys have any suggestions? If they were to go for a receiver, who do you think they would go for? If Brown would be a good fit, I know his attitude sucks, so maybe not, but who would you go for, and what position would you focus on if it wasn't a receiver?
Well, I already talked last segment or a little while ago about the what I think, pass rush. I think you can always use more pass rush. I think if this team were to lose Bosa, I think they could really be in trouble. And I know you can say that about a lot of teams and a lot of positions, but they are really lacking there, I think, so far this year. So I would always look for that. And I think safety is still a need. You might want to wonder about corner. They seem to be getting Dorian Strong ready. Maybe certainly it's because they want to see it. But if Tre'Davious White had that locked down, I don't think they'd be trying out guys during games. So maybe that's another sneaky one. So that's where I would settle. Safety / DB edge.
I am not anywhere yet on this, especially names. I mean, it's still a month. But anything that you can, reasonably explain away as improvement, I think is justifiable, if not desirable. Brown, I mean, the guy's really good, and he's won a Super Bowl, and, there's not a lot to pick at. Maybe his attitude is bad. Maybe it's fine. And
if he's in a bad headspace, I don't know.
I mean, they have maybe the league's best GM. And that's why, because of, just using gets, like, what do we want for a receiver? Target share. Receivers want to be the man. He is. Like, he gets that target share on an elite level. The problem is it's the word share. And they didn't throw a pass in the second half. Like, they are winning anyway without needing to use him, usually. So he's got to calm down. Like, he's going to feel the way he feels. But if I'm the Eagles, I'm like, are you sure you really need to be unhappy about this? We will be in games that we're losing, probably. Let's say we're not. Can that be okay? If we win every game and we don't need to throw you the ball, can that be okay? If not, man, we probably won't win every game, and we will need you. So what do you think? Like, how about you get on board with this? How do you trade him? How do you have the defending Super Bowl champion and one of two remaining undefeated teams in the league? I mean, like, you know what we should do? Trade our best player I mean, he's top 3. I don't know. No, it doesn't make it. They can't do that.
Right.
They shouldn't. It's really bad if they do that. Saying all that, there are odds on his next team at Bet Online because, of course, there are. And somehow the favorite is Cleveland.
What?
Yeah, that's the favorite to be A.J. Brown's next. And maybe his name is Brown. That's the case. Cleveland is the favorite to be his next team.
So the Eagles are going to be so fed up with his attitude that they're going to exile him to the Browns?
And, if the Eagles, I say if, because come on, no way, right?
Right.
But if they trade him, they need somebody like him back. They would need somebody, we're not rebuilding. We're not looking for a first. We want another A.J. Brown who won't be mad at us all the time, won't be sad.
That's going to be really hard, but is Jerry Jeudy that? I mean,
No.
He's their best guy, isn't he?
For Cleveland, yeah.
Right.
If they trade him to Cleveland. But no, he's totally not A.J. Brown.
No.
Who is?
Right. There's 3 or 4 guys you're talking about here, I think. So, yeah, it's tough. And while Mike is talking about A.J. Brown there, I'm looking at the AFC, and then I'm looking at the NFC, and I've got, New Orleans is 0-4. You like Chris Olave? Okay. I don't know. Maybe that's an idea.
Super good.
Right. I don't know who else Carolina's got. They're not trading you Tet McMillan. Dallas ain't trading you Pickens or Lamb. Washington just signed McLaurin. The Bears are 2-2. Then you're into teams.
DJ Moore.
Then you're into teams that are still in a playoff, their season. So I can't even really get there. In another few weeks, when somebody's 2-5, then that's different.
I might bet even money that DJ Moore gets traded. Probably shouldn't have to get even money. I bet he could get traded. But do the Bills want that? Is that what they want to do?
I don't think so.
I don't either. Right?
I wonder if the fact that they did it last year precludes them from doing it again. I'm not saying the idea of a trade period, but a trade for a receiver period. I already said I think. I mean, we'll see if they feel they have the same crisis, even though they have Josh Palmer and Keon Coleman is in year 2 and Samuel is healthy and Elijah Moore is here. If they think they still have the same problem with separation and getting guys open, then the same case can be made internally, just as it was made last year. We need help here. We got to go do something, and they did. But I wonder if it didn't really it didn't get us anywhere that we weren't going anyways, I think might be how you could look at
Didn't work.
the Cooper trade. So we'll just trust what we have. And as much as they have spent assets on defense, I think there are still holes. Again, we haven't seen the full crew yet because you've had injuries and suspensions, and so we don't know what there is there yet. But they will get a look at that before this has to be decided. So I still would look at that side of the ball before I would look at receiver. From their standpoint, I would love a top shelf receiver. I'm trying to put together what I think they might be open to, and I still think pass rush and safety is what I would think about.
Okay. Thanks, Mario. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog will be right back. This is WGR. Sabres home to Pittsburgh tonight. Sorry, pregame in about 10 minutes. I'm not sorry about
them playing.
The Sabres playing Pittsburgh. Fantasy is a ride right now. Injuries, waivers this is where you really want to have known your league rules, because some leagues you can just go take Michael Carter or just go take Sean Tucker. Other ones you got to bid on them, and hopefully you know what to do. But there's a lot to do this week. So there's that, and the Bills have another new punter, Mitch Wishnowsky. Sean McDermott, I heard today, said he was excited to watch him punt in practice. Like, what is that?
Wow.
I'm glad to have him. I'm excited to see him punt. Like, is it like fireworks when you're watching a new punt?
No.
Yeah. It's just punts. It's just punting. And he's not going to do anything in practice that's going to change anything, right? Just like, I guess he could just be a goof off and they would cut him, but that's not going to happen. It's punting. Does the ball make a different sound? I mean, just...
Well, maybe, maybe the certain punters, the ball coming off the bat, certain hitters, you're like, man, there's just a different sound. Maybe there are punters that have that.
If this guy has that, he should have been here already.
It's booming. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Cameron Johnston was the name of the guy that got hurt. That's the first time I think I've ever said his name. I think every time that we talked about him being here, it was just they got a new punter. And I don't think I ever said his name. And I was watching a clip of the morning show, and I'm not saying Jeremy never said the guy's name, but he did the same thing that I had been doing when he's talking to Sale today. It was like, so there's a new punter, the other guy got hurt, he just went other guy. He just went, I'm like, are we all just not learning the guy's name? I don't know. I'm not judging anyone. I know for me, I just didn't ever say his name.
I had a tough time remembering it.
Same. I think if I knew it easily and was unafraid that I was going to botch it, then I think I would have said it. But I was not confident about it. But just now I thought, I think I got it. Now that he's not playing anymore, I know his name.
Cameron Johnston.
It's kind of sad. Should have learned his name before while he was playing.
I guess, or you didn't need to.
Well,
maybe he'll be back.
Maybe. Probably not, though.
You don't think so?
I don't.
They didn't activate Bass. Today was the day for...
Right, we never got to that with Sal. They didn't activate any of the guys.
No.
That's right.
Hairston.
Yep.
Not close enough to be activated to just practice for the next 3 weeks.
Right.
And same with Bass. I don't know. Those could be different. I got to think they'd want Hairston back whenever they can get him. And if he's ready, they'd want to do that the very day that they decided he was ready, I would think. Bass, maybe they just want to not think about it. Like Prater's, what has he missed one? That shank against Miami?
Yeah, that one against Miami.
Or pull?
Yep.
I don't think a shank can be a pull. Still, that was a miss, but I don't think he's missed another one. They're really not maybe in any sense of urgency for Bass. But also, perhaps he's just not healthy. That could be right.
Yep.
Could be both.
Could be both things.
Paul Hamilton joins next. Pre-game coverage. Sabres Penguins after this. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Sabres pregame coming up next as the Sabres will host the Pittsburgh Penguins. Just 2 more preseason games left. The regular season will start next Thursday against the New York Rangers. 7 p.m. puck drop. Do stay tuned. Paul Hamilton's going to join the show next to get us ready for tonight. And in net for the Sabres, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen will get the start. We will see, though, if he's going to go the whole game or just get 2 periods. For the Bills, just 1 change from the original injury report we did get from head coach Sean McDermott before practice today. Jackson Hawes with an ankle injury joins Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, and Spencer Brown as limited participants. It is good to see, though, for 3 players, Oliver, Milano, and Brown, each making their return to practice. And then just 1 player did not participate, that being linebacker Dorian Williams, as he deals with a leg issue. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-million. Thursday Night Football tomorrow night between the 49ers and the Rams, but bad news for San Fran. Quarterback Brock Purdy and wide receivers Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings have all been ruled out. Cardinals running back Trey Benson is heading to IR. He's going to miss at least the next 4 games with a knee injury. And the Browns, they are officially going to 3rd-round rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel, who will get the start versus Minnesota in London. Over in the baseball playoffs, 2 games are now in the books, both forcing a Game 3. Guardians with their win over the Tigers, 6-1, and then Padres just wrapped up their game against the Cubs. They win 3-0. Both Game 3s will be tomorrow, and then starting here in just the next few minutes, the Yankees against Boston. Yankees need a win to keep their season alive, as do the Cincinnati Reds. They will take on the Dodgers at 9. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
All right, final week of the NHL preseason. 2 games to go, including tonight's. The Sabres host Pittsburgh. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for listening. Paul Hamilton in a moment. The preseason so far. So, you're getting games where one team, like tonight maybe, has its full complement or close to it of its NHL roster. The other, usually the team on the road is not so inclined. But, are we... One thing I would say, if anything matters, I would say positively about their preseason is it sounds like, as we've talked about during these pregame show segments, the thing I think they want to fix the most
has been
fixed mostly, or you're seeing good signs, preventing chances.
The defending, especially in the first 2 games, I did not keep as close an eye. The Detroit game, that was like the road Jumbotron feed, and it just sort of kept dropping out, and I gave up, and football started, I think.
Thursday.
Right, yeah. So I was like, well, whatever, I'm out. And they ended up losing that game 5-2. So I didn't see a lot of that. And Saturday, I saw highlights. But, we've talked a little. I think tightening up and being, harder in their own end. And I think there are some signs that maybe they've changed philosophically how they're defending in their own end. And I think the results have been pretty good so far. Yeah, like that is a good way forward for them if they can maintain the offense they lost by losing Peterka. That really largely comes down to Norris staying healthy, I think. Because if he plays 70 games, I think he's going to score 80 points. Paul, he's a proven scorer, I think.
Big if, maybe.
Yeah.
Paul Hamilton with us now. Paul, did Norris get cut today? Was that a thing that happened?
Yeah, that was yesterday. He took a stick from Dunn. He had to get repairs over on the bench, but that's as far as it went. He didn't have to go into the locker room and anything like that. So, and we have DJs back in here. Isn't this lovely? so I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'll try to figure out what the music is. But would you
Good
like
luck.
to? Good luck. Would you like to?
This DJ's probably playing at the Super Bowl.
Would you like to add a postscript to our conversation about how the preseason is going?
Yeah, another thing I talked to Lindy Ruff about today, which you'll hear in a few minutes, is remember all the bad penalties last year, just dumb penalties they would take, stick penalties, offensive zone penalties, hit guys from behind. And I asked him, are you making progress on that in the 4 games? He goes, yeah, we are. He goes, it's been a huge emphasis. And he goes, other than really, Helen has taken one in the late in the third period. He said he felt that they've eliminated a lot of that stuff, getting the stick in on the hands where you wind up with a penalty, or taking a penalty in the offensive zone, or taking it in the last 5 minutes of the game. He says we're constantly going over now situational awareness, knowing where you are in the game. And, hey, maybe this isn't the time to try to make a big hit because you can't wind up in the penalty box and those types of things. And he's liked what he's seen so far.
I'm excited to see this line with Kulik, Quinn, and Doan, Paul. Kulik, I think that started the preseason, but then he got hurt soon thereafter and has missed a little bit of time. And I think a lot really rides on how Kulik performs this year, and maybe Quinn too. I mentioned as we were bringing you in, replacing the goals they gave up when they traded Peterka, falling on Norris. But Quinn would be the next space on the board for me to look to.
Yeah, I would go with Norris and Kulik, but all of a sudden you look at what, I don't think any of us would sit there and think Quinn had a good year last year, but at the end of the day, he had 15 goals. They go, all right, yeah, that's probably more than you would think he would have had. Mm-hmm. So, if he gets to 20, adds 5 to his total, Norris got 1. Norris has scored 35 goals in this league.
Right.
So if he stays healthy, he can maybe do it alone without any help from Quinn or Kulik or whatever. So, and also, if you just become an NHL power play, I think you'll replace the goals. They did in the last month of the season last year, but the season's longer than a month. So, if they become an NHL power play, that can help replace a lot of the goals too.
Paul, how about the Penguins in this game? Like you've called it all through here. Road teams usually bring a pretty AHL-intensive lineup, and that's what we've got, it looks like, from them tonight as we turn to the spotlight. A look at tonight's opponent, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. When it's game time, it's Tully time.
Yeah, you'll know Ryan Graves. and if you weren't, and you'll know Robbie Fabry.
Right.
But if you weren't at the Prospects Challenge, if you're at the Prospects Challenge, you'll know about 4 or 5 of these guys. But other than that, no, Sidney Crosby is not here, but I would be shocked if he's not in the lineup on Friday in Pittsburgh.
Right. Murtka gets another look here. You and I talked about him around this time yesterday, and he's played. Has he played all of these preseason games? He's probably not played all of them, but he missed one. That's a lot.
Yeah, injuries have helped. Byram was out there today. Lindy Ruff said he expects him probably to play on Friday. Owen Power's not back out there yet. So having some injuries have kind of helped Johnson maybe get into the lineup and maybe stay in the lineup, depending on if he keeps playing as well as he did. And, of course, they want to get a good look at Murtka, even if they're planning on sending him back to junior. What does it hurt to play him in all the preseason games, or almost all the preseason games, and giving him a good look?
Right, Paul.
Or Rochester for him, like you said yesterday, right?
Yeah, and he could play you could play him up to 9 games if you wanted to, or if you wanted to give him a couple. But they haven't done that. You can check me if I'm wrong, but I believe Reinhart was the last one they did that with. And he played his 9 games, and he went back to junior. And I remember Tim Murray saying that Reinhart sat in his office and cried, that he had to go back to junior. But they felt it was best for him. But he's the last one that I remember that has gone through that program.
They would probably need more these injuries to Power or Byram or someone else to linger to get to a point where they would feel like that's the call.
Right. Unless you just wanted to give him a regular season game or something, but as a reward for playing well. But I still don't even think Rochester. I think he could handle it somewhat. But I still think go play 25 minutes and dominate in Seattle. We'll see you next year.
Thanks, Paul.
Yep.
In related news, when Reinhart went to Florida, I cried. So.
Yeah.
We're
still crying.
We're kind of still crying. We cried before, during, and after Reinhart became a name we knew. All right. Let's